Hi, I'm Pugs Moran, and welcome into the High Noon Topics, headlines, current events, hot topics, hot take show. We do this every noon here, Central Standard Time, on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. It's streaming, it's podcast. Go check it out, won't you? Hold on, let me get my desk settled here. I had to get up and run and get something. What up, Byron? I had to run up and grab something very quickly, moments before we went on, which explains a couple of minutes late. I had to rearrange the rundown. That's right. What we do here on this show is I give you all of the things that are trending on all the different platforms, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Google, all of them, MSN, all of them. If it's trending, I look through them all. I pick out all the stuff that are at the top and the things that I think are most interesting to talk about here. And I put them all together in this little show that we do each and every day. And I just throw them at you. I tell you, this is trending and this is why it's trending. And here's what I think, because, I am a narcissist, so I got to get my 2 cents in there. But just before we went on, something new started to trend. It had just popped up. And I had to read the story, and I'm reading the story, and then I because of that, I didn't do what I normally do. I have old man things that I have to do before I have to force myself to urinate. I know, too much information, but I'm an old guy, and I don't want to sit here for 3 hours and, then have to, I got to go to the bathroom. No, so I forced myself to do this. That's why we were late. A story popped just about 57 after the hour is when I saw it, giving me 3 minutes to consume the story and get my pre-show urination in. So welcome. There you go. A little something about me and my prep habits. All right. And the desk is not arranged properly because I had to move it. Oh my goodness. What a day we're having here in North Texas. We do this show from the Comfort Nest Guest House Lounge high atop the 1%er compound in beautiful downtown Highland Park, Texas. Not exactly downtown. I just say that because it rolls nicely. We're actually in the thick of Highland Park. It is gray. What is the temperature? Go ahead, chat people. You're gonna find out the temperature here in North Texas before I will. So let me know, because it takes my phone like a minute to reboot. All right, come on, spinning. What's the temperature? Are you going to win? Will you beat the phone? Beat the phone. Here we go. Nope, didn't beat it. 63 degrees and cloudy today. Byron jumping into the chat room first. He says, so you're saying there are drip marks? No, not drip marks. A powerful stream, fire hose stream. I'm still doing that. I just like to I'm drinking a lot of water. I'm trying to, it's boat season. Going to be out there in Lake Louisville, and I didn't feel great about how I looked last summer out there. But you know what? I look way worse now than I did last summer. I don't know what happened. I must have gained like 15 pounds. Seriously, I eat bad food. I'm not living this high end life. I'm here in the middle of one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in America. I believe we looked it up, and it's the number 6th wealthiest neighborhood in all of America, behind places like the Hamptons and, Beverly Hills and all of that nonsense. But, I eat beans. Thanks to my girl, Leslie. I eat beans. I eat rice. I eat a lot of financially responsible foods. Not necessarily nutrition. Well, they give me the nutrition, but I'm trying to lose weight. I've been working really hard, and I fall from time to time. I've not been perfect. My son comes and stays for the weekend, and he wants pizza, and he's just going to eat a pizza? I got to have some. So I drink a lot of water. That's why I like to force myself to go to the bathroom before I sit down here for a couple of hours and try and bring you the world. Jeff Glenn says that it's Jefferson Glenwright IV says that it's sunny and 59 in Fort Worth. 59 is cold. Cold for here. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, Jeff's talking about Jeff. You gotta stop. Jeff, you gotta stop eating fish out of Lake Louisville. Jeff says those Lake Louisville sand bass will be slamming here in about 2 weeks. I don't care what they say, Jeff. That lake is gross. my son and I, we got into like a King of the Hill game on top of this like inflatable raft that Uncle E drags from the back of his boat. This big giant raft. It's huge. It's like seriously, it's like a 20-person raft. It's like people lay out on it. It's one of those kind of deals. Probably costs like $5,000. Seriously, it's a ridiculous like accoutrement to your lake day experience, but it's cool and we got it. And so we were playing King of the Hill on the raft last year, and we both tumbled into the water. We both slipped at the same time, so we weren't expecting to go into the water, and we both swallowed Lake Louisville water. And my son and I were just hanging on the side of the raft, just both of us, because we share genetics, gagging for like 2 minutes, just going, and he's going, man, I'm telling you, that lake is gross. That lake is disgusting. We'll see. You doing the meat once a day, salad for lunch. He's lost 5 pounds in 3 weeks. Not enough. Not enough. I got to lose at least 3-4 pounds a week. That's I don't have meat once a day. I have meat about 3 times a week. Yeah, I know. Oh, and does it suck? But I've figured out some really cool things to make. Like I'm eating way more fresh vegetables, but I wonder, like they say, eat your green vegetables. And when I think of like green vegetables, eating a lot of green vegetables, like they don't mean like half of them. They don't mean like the ones that I like, you know, like I'll sit and have a cucumber for lunch. I'll just chop it up, you know, and then I'll like sprinkle a little seasoning on it. And then I'll dip it in some like low calorie. But no, cucumbers don't count. When they say green vegetables, I think they're only talking about spinach and broccoli. And I will not touch broccoli. I cannot handle broccoli. I can't eat broccoli. Spinach is good. I eat spinach. You know how to do it? Spinach. Put a little salt, a little pepper, and then Tabasco. Tabasco on the spinach and whip it up, and then it's just hot. It's hot and delicious. So I can do that. I can do spinach. But not broccoli. I can't do broccoli. Broccoli is the worst, man. I don't. And cooked broccoli, when you cook broccoli, the smell is terrible. Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts. They're like little tiny cabbages, and I like to pretend I'm a giant. Brussels sprouts also, when you cook them in the microwave, they just give off this awful smell, but they're delicious. So you'll put up with the awful smell because they're actually delicious. All right. Byron says, you can eat as much chicken breast as you want, buy in bulk, and get different sauces. Yeah, okay. Chicken breast is good, and I eat a lot of chicken. I do. That's pretty. Chicken and pork are like the meats of choices for the last year. I haven't had red meat in a long time. Not true. You had a hamburger with your son. I know. I don't count that. I don't count things I eat with my son. It's why you're still fat. I know. I got to start counting things that I eat with my son. But the sauces are the problem, Byron. Byron, I'm not going to eat like a chicken breast, which will have about 110, 115 calories in a chicken breast. I can eat that. That's good. That'll fill you up. But then you use a sauce that's got 200 calories. Nope. Can't do the sauces. I find that a nice low calorie, low fat Italian dressing is a catch-all. It works for everything. It gets spicy, tastes good. It's fine. It's fine. Ranch, you start getting into that stuff. Here, have your 110 calorie chicken breast and then dip it in 500 calorie ranch. No, yeah, see, that's stupid. That's totally defeating the thing. I may as well have a ribeye. All right, let's get into what today is. Today is the 30th of the month, 30th day of the month, 30th day of March. As we are at the end of the month, I compel you to help tip the show, support the show. We're at the end of the month. Money's running low. We are still, we're just about 100 and then we got $120 tip, which was great. Thank you very much. So we're at about 130, 140 bucks away from the goal. So help us get there. If you can, it's that time of the month. Now let's move on to what it is. It's the 89th day of the year. It is 276 days remain until the end of the year. So as we like to say on the show, get those New Year's Eve plans started. What day is today? Let's find out what today is. Today's a whole bunch of stupid days. We're supposed to be commemorating a whole bunch of. It's National Little Red Wagon Day. Stupid. Next. Manatee Appreciation Day. Stupid. Hold on. Manatees are cool. Are manatees sea lions? Manatees look prehistoric to me. They look like manatees look like an animal that God created at like 4:50 p.m. on a Friday. You know, he was checked out. He was thinking about the weekend, and he's like, I got to create one more animal before I get here. Blob, some whiskers. What else? What else? What else? Some flippers. Is that going to be a water animal? Yeah, because the flippers. Okay. All right, that's it. Miller time. Let's hit the weekend. That's what a manatee looks like. It's Manatee Appreciation Day. It's National Doctors Day. So be sure and tip your doctors. No, don't. Doctors make, I gotta say they make too much money because when you really need a good doctor, they're pretty much worth their weight in gold. But you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is what I'm saying. It's National Doctors Day. It's National I Am in Control Day. I don't even. I'm tempted to click on it and see what kind of self-help bullshit this is all about, but no, not interested. Are you in control of your day? Be in control of your day. There you go. You're celebrating National Control Day. It's National Pencil Day. Stupid. Who uses pencils anymore? Seriously, pencils? What the pencils? Pens are barely relevant these days. Pencils? I don't think so. And then they would always, what was the deal with it's got to be a number 2 pencil? Well, if everything's got to be a number 2 pencil, why is there another numbered pencil? Why are you still producing pencils that are not useful? Why is it? See, I had a hot take on Pencil Day. I didn't even think I was capable of that. It's National Take a Walk in the Park Day. All right, I'll see you. I will see you one. How about Take a Jog Around the Park Day? That's even better. It's National Turkey Neck Soup Day. Seems randomly specific. No, thank you. And it's National Virtual Vacation Day. Virtual Vacation Day. You can't take an actual vacation, but just try and trick your mind into thinking that you're on a vacation and then get back to work. Virtual Vacation Day. No thanks. I'll pass. That seems really stupid. You know what that seems? I used to think, that whole, it was a local tourism campaign that took off nationally, and now people do it all the time. But that the concept of the staycation, where you don't go anywhere. Staycation. It's just where you, the rules of a staycation is that you don't go to work and you stay in a hotel like a block from your house. It seems like a waste of money. I have a house in this town. Why would I go and get a hotel room? That's just a big waste. Until I did a staycation. I actually engaged in staycations and they were wonderful. They're actually kind of nice. Like you stay in a hotel in a town you think you see it from a different perspective. You see it as a tourist, except you don't get lost, which is nice because you live there. You know where shit is. But that's not what today is. Today is National Virtual Vacation Day. So enjoy that. Your boss is so wonderful. He's going to give you a virtual vacation. It's National Virtual Vacation Day, so I want everybody to put palm trees on their screensavers and get to work. On this day in history, not a whole lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of World War II stuff and stuff that I don't really know. But one thing that I do know about that happened on this day. And we commemorate it in some way, shape, or form each and every day at the end of the show. Today in 1981, U.S. President Ronald Reagan is shot in the chest outside of a Washington, D.C. hotel by America's favorite singer-songwriter / failed presidential assassin, John Hinckley Jr. That's right. 3 others are wounded in the same incident. Of course, the most tragic of the 3 who were wounded was James Brady. James Brady, press secretary to Reagan at the time, suffered a serious brain injury. He was the inspiration for the Brady Bill. That was terrible because he was a young man and he lived, a number of years. years, decades after that, and he was brain dead. He was severely brain. What a terrible, terrible thing. My memories about the Reagan assassination are sketchy. I mean, I have very strong and vivid memories of sitting on the floor in my living room watching the breaking news all day long. Like, no cartoons for me, no Speed Racer, no Prince Planet, no Fraggle Rock, none of that. It was just me at like 10, 11 years old sitting there on the floor watching this. Now, why was I sitting on the floor watching the live coverage? Frank Reynolds in Washington. That's who I remember. I remember Frank Reynolds doing it. So I must have been watching ABC. But why was I home? This is where I get a little bit confused. Because I seem to remember being in school. Like, I have this memory of being in class and looking outside and seeing the school buses pull up at like noon, like all of them, not just like one or two school buses pull up. Somebody's going on a field trip, but when the school buses all pulled up, you're like, okay, so what are we getting, a blizzard? It's not a blizzard. It's late March or in Chicago. We're not going to get a blizzard. And I have a memory of that, but I honestly, I think over time I have placed that memory of seeing the school buses pull up outside the school, which indicated we were all going home early, seeing the school buses. And maybe it was for a different event, but for some reason, because then I remember being at home watching all of the news unfold on the Reagan assassination attempt. I think we got let out of school early, but I'm not entirely sure on that. That was Tim McCarthy, of course, was the Secret Service agent who took a bullet for Reagan. In that, Tim McCarthy would go on to be the long time. We had a bit of we felt like we were connected to the Reagan assassination attempt because Tim McCarthy was a local in the little town that I came from, the little suburb outside of Chicago, Orland Park, Illinois. Tim McCarthy, the heroic Secret Service agent who took the bullet for Reagan, he came from here, went to our schools. He was a local guy. And when he retired from the Secret Service, he became the chief of police of the Orland Park Police Department. He was chief of police for probably 30, 40 years. He just retired like a couple of years ago. I remember I got yelled at by Tim McCarthy. Here's a good Tim McCarthy story. I got yelled at by Tim McCarthy just a couple of years ago. It's just like, it was like the year he was retiring or whatever, but he yelled at me. He yelled at me and I was scared. And I didn't say anything back to him because he's Tim McCarthy. He's an American hero. And here's the situation. So I was driving around my hometown and I saw, this was at night, probably about 8:00 at night or something. And I just saw all of these police cars, like a train of police cars. And they were all rushing to the mall. And the mall, the big mall that we have in our hometown, Orland Square, is like the center of the town, Orland Square. It's like where, it's the center of the town. It's where everybody does stuff. It's where I grew up, going to that mall. And I see all the police cars, and there were so many that I went, I'm going to have to check this out. And so I followed the police cars as they were arriving at the mall, and I looked, and they're all pulling out up in front of the Cheesecake Factory. And then I looked, and I noticed, then I see there's SWAT team there. Then I see there's a bunch of ambulances. I'm like, whoa, something's going on here. So I decide, because I'm an idiot, I'm just going to park like I'm going to the mall. Why not? No one can say that I'm not going. Maybe I'm just showing up at the mall at an inopportune time. So I start walking and I see all these cops. They got their guns drawn and they're out in front of the Cheesecake Factory. And I get yelled. I get, hey, mall is closed. And I'm like, whoa, what do you mean mall is closed? I'm like, okay. And I started to say something to the cop like, hey, what's going on? And then this dude comes up behind me in a suit and he grabs me and he pulls me aside. He pulls me over to the side. He's like, get out of here now. And I go, well, I'm just going to the mall. He's like, I said now. It was Tim McCarthy. It was the chief of police, or the Park Police Department. I was like, all right. I noticed who he was because I know who he is. And I looked at him and I go, oh, all right, chief. No worries, man. No worries. And I just went back to my car and I sat in my car and I watched it unfold. And incidentally, there was a school shooting, or not a school shooting, a mall shooting. And it wasn't like I hate Obama, or liberal, or whatever. This is for what. It wasn't one of those kind of things. It wasn't one of the scary mall shootings. It was some gang members. Some gang members got into a beef in the food court and shot was fired. And but because of the times we live in, the police response was overwhelming. But yeah, that's my memory. So there you go. That ties in with this day in history. 1981 on this day. Ronald Reagan, John Hinckley tried to assassinate him, and he ended up getting Tim McCarthy, a guy who years later would say, I said no to me. And I'm like, hey, chief, I got you. Hey, I'm not looking for trouble. God bless you, brother. You're a hero. Oh, who is this? Mr. Popular. All right, Wisconsin. IPC. What is IPC? What do you think IPC is? Should I answer? Just a random. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get taken off course. All right, let's celebrate some birthdays today. People celebrating birthdays on this day. Born on this day in 1930 and still alive. Still alive. Yeah. How about this? Gomez Addams himself, John Astin. We've talked about John Astin recently. Recently, we talked about him. What were we talking about? Why did we? Here's why. And isn't this weird? Okay, so today is John Astin's birthday. Yesterday, Patty Duke Astin died on this day. Well, we commemorated that she died on this day. I think she died like in 2016. So a woman he was married to, who, and it was a sketchy marriage. That's the whole thing that we talk about, right? Like Patty Duke was pregnant with Sean Astin, the actor, and John Astin thought that he was the father, but it turned out maybe he wasn't, because Patty Duke was having affairs with other people. And I don't know, whatever. Sean Astin is still going by Sean Astin. So John Astin is Sean Astin's father. It doesn't matter what the biological ties are. He's his dad. He raised him. Gomez Addams raised him. But that's why we were talking about, because Patty Duke Astin died yesterday. If it was like a really ugly divorce, like if it was like they had hard feelings, and I don't know that they did, but maybe that was like, it's like, oh, there's a birthday present for me. That's a terrible thing to think about. Patty Duke was beloved by a lot of men. She died yesterday, and today is John Astin's birthday. What would he be? 70, 89, 92 years old. Gomez Addams, 92 years old. All right, so if we're going to talk about the sexual sound it out, sexual proclivities of Patty Duke, then we certainly got to talk about this guy, born on this day in 1937, celebrating a birthday, Warren Beatty. Oh my God, one of the biggest Lotharios in the history of Hollywood actors. Not gay. Last night, if you were listening to the Pillow Talk show, I was talking about a documentary that I watched on Hulu, I think, called Scotty Bowden's, whatever, I don't know what his name is. Secret Hollywood. Scotty Bowman, Secret Hollywood. This was a guy who ran a gas station in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s in Hollywood. And the gas station was just a front for gay actors. Like, gay actors would pull in, and instead of getting gas, they would pick up a boy. They would pick up one of the gas station attendants who were prostitutes, who were male prostitutes. And it named names, and it was crazy. Warren Beatty, not involved in that. Warren Beatty has one of the great sexual resumes in history. I mean, everybody from Vivian Lee to his wife now of like 30 years after he finally settled down, Annette Bening. That's it. He stopped at Annette Bening, or so we're led to believe. But we're talking Madonna, we're talking Natalie Wood, we're talking Barbara Streisand, we're talking Joan Collins, we're talking Brigitte Bardot, we're talking Raquel Welch. We are talking every fabulous woman between like 1930, if you want to count Vivian Lee, between like 1930 and whenever Annette Bening came on the scene. Warren Beatty was with him. Warren Beatty had him. He was He was a swordsman of the highest order, as they say. Born on this day in 1945, rock god? Sure. Eric Clapton, English guitarist and singer-songwriter, born on this day in 1945. Born on this day in 1956, Paul Reiser, Mad About You. Born on this day in 1962. Oh, I've got a prediction for tonight's Pillow Talk. Here's my prediction. Are you ready? Tonight on Pillow Talk, James, in his monologue, will make a joke about MC Hammer because it's MC Hammer's birthday. He's born on this day in 1962. The joke will be something like, today's MC Hammer's birthday, and I don't want to say that he's getting old, but he's now doing a song, and it'll be some play on "Can't Touch This." It'll be like that will suggest that he's old now, like can't. I don't even know. But James will have one. So there you go. So if you tune into the nighttime stream at 9:00 with me and Parker, my prediction is that he will have an MC Hammer joke about MC Hammer getting old. However, there might be two of them. Because it's also, Tracy Chapman is having a birthday today. We'll get to the next one. He won't do a Tracy Chapman joke because I think he might be too young. Tracy Chapman had one hit single, and the song was everywhere. Fast Car. Remember that song? You got a fast car. I got a ticket to take us out of here. Or what? I don't even know how the song went. That song was everywhere for about 6 months. And I honestly don't think I've heard it since 1990. I don't think she vanished. Tracy Chapman was huge for like 6 months. And then as far as, I'm sure that there are Tracy Chapman fans, and she's probably been touring for the last 4 decades, and she's got 15 albums. Yeah, but none of them were hits, and the average person on the street couldn't name anything that she did other than Fast Car. And I'll say, Fast Car is a great song. I really like that song. I would like to hear that. I might add that on my Spotify if it's available. That's a good song. That's a really good song. It got overplayed, and I think we all got really tired of it. But it's been 4 decades. I bet you if I heard that song again, yeah, this is a good song. So happy birthday, Tracy Chapman, born on this day in 1964. Born on this day in 1964, Piers Morgan. That's all I have to say about him. Born on this day in 1968. This is the addendum to the MC Hammer joke that I'm predicting for James Parker tonight. James Parker's either going to do a MC Hammer's birthday today. I'm not saying he's getting old, but he changed the name of the song from "I Can't Touch This" to "I Can't Urinate Properly," or something like that. Or "I can't maintain an erection anymore." Something like that. That'll be an old joke. That's sort of a bit that he does. Celebrities turn a certain age, and he makes fun of them, specifically if they're singer-songwriters, performers, music guys, that kind of thing. But born on this day in 1968, this is the addendum. He might not do MC Hammer. He might do Celine Dion. Celine Jones. I don't know who Celine Jones is. It's probably wonderful. Celine Dion, born on this day in 1968. Okay, so his joke here, I predict, will be something like, Celine Dion turned 54 today, and I don't want to say that she's getting old, but she has a new song out called "My Heart Will Go On as Long as the Pacemaker Works." Something like that. It'll be something like that. These are my predictions for the 9:00 monologue bit that James does every night. Also born on this day in 1979, local girl made good, Norah Jones. Oh, what a beautiful voice. What a beautiful soul. Norah Jones. Okay. Name a Norah Jones song. I don't know. In my mind, I get Norah Jones and like the music of Norah Jones and the music of Jewel confused because they're both like from this area, and they both write pretty songs, and I'm not necessarily a guy that loves the pretty song, but I'm emotional. I can be touched by a pretty song. And I like Norah Jones in my mind. She's like the ethnic Jewel. Why am I like Mr. Popular now with spam calls? You can go away there, Mr. Spam. So Nora Jones, graduate of UNT. And and also I believe she went to Dallas Arts School. What is it, Bishop Arts? Or no, not Bishop Arts. Whatever it is, the art school, the music and art school here in Dallas. I think she went there too. And her dad, she's got a famous dad. Her dad is Ravi Shankar. And Ravi Shankar is famous because George Harrison told everybody that he was famous, and now historically, it's like, oh yeah, he's a guy that George Harrison used to like. So that's Nora Jones's dad. Apparently, Ravi Shankar, the sitar player, the Indian musician, he like knocked up Nora Jones's mom, and yeah, that was it. And then you had Nora Jones, and that's where apparently she gets her talent from. Deaths on this day, a couple of interesting ones. James Cagney, you dirty rat, died on this day in 1986. Nobody knows who James Cagney is anymore, but James Cagney was once one of the biggest movie stars in the history of the world. But again, I always point out to people who just exalt these superstar movie heroes from like the 1920s and 1930s, like James Cagney, and I'm like, there was no competition back then. It was like there was like 5 guys that wanted to be actors, right? And like James Cagney got all the good roles. And I don't know if he was good or not. I don't know. Is James Cagney Al Pacino? Is James Cagney Robert De Niro? Is James Cagney like in that? Is James Cagney in league with Daniel Day-Lewis? I don't know. I mean, I look at John Wayne and I'm like, John Wayne ain't a good actor. John Wayne is John Wayne. John Wayne created this cool image, and he was cool in all these movies. But a great actor, I don't know about that. I just think there wasn't a whole bunch of competition. I think that somebody who made movies really liked him and put him in all these movies. So, but hey, whatever. James Cagney, he seemed a bit animated. He seemed like a little bit like he was like, you see James Cagney acting, and you're like, oh, that dude's totally acting. Whereas you see somebody like a Daniel Day-Lewis, or somebody like that, and you're like, oh, I get totally lost inside that character. I forgot it was Daniel Day-Lewis. But every time I see a James Cagney thing, I'm like, yeah, that's James Cagney just doing that voice again. I don't know, whatever. But he died on this day in 1986. Excuse me. Dead on this day in 2005. This was a big one. This one hit hard. This was a friend of ours on the old Pugs and Kelly show, Mitch Hedberg. One of the absolute greatest comedy minds in history. This guy had a take on stand-up comedy. And if you're familiar with Mitch Hedberg, you're like, yeah, he did. This guy had a style of stand-up comedy that was reminiscent of Stephen Wright. If you're a fan of Stephen Wright, who is also one of the greats of all time, Mitch Hedberg was kind of like that, but a little bit stranger, even strange. If it's possible to be even stranger than Stephen Wright, it was Mitch Hedberg. Mitch Hedberg was adored by everyone who knew comedy, everybody in the comedy world. Mitch Hedberg was also an extraordinarily troubled guy. I mean, I have seen him do hard drugs right in front of me, like in the middle of a conversation. Just he was out there. He was a different kind of. I don't think that I ever saw Mitch Hedberg sober. And I'd gone to dinner with him. I'd socialized with him. We'd gone out to clubs and bars and stuff like that after comedy shows. He would come in and do our show. The great thing about him doing our show, and Kelly and I used to love this, we used to just say, hi, Mitch. And then we would sit back. We would just sit back and he would go, hey, Pugs Kelly, good to be back. Hey, and then one after another, line after line after line after line after line after line, and we would be dying. He was so funny and so weird. And then we'd go to a commercial and he'd sit down and he'd be silent and he'd be like, Mitch, that was really great. Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you letting me do that. A lot of people, they want to talk to me, and, I'm not really good at talking to people. Yeah, I know, Mitch. I know. You just go for it, brother. You do whatever you need to do. Also, we're one of the last interviews he ever did with anybody. He did Dallas, the Dallas Improv, and he spent the entire show with us. him and his wife, Lynn. And then he went down to Houston and then he died. And it was like, it's like he had done the show with us all day Friday. And then on Monday he was dead. It was like, what? Or Tuesday, what? You you kind of condense things in your head. But I remember we were thinking, were we the last Mitch Hedberg interview? Did we do the last interview with Mitch? That's a real loss. That guy was so funny. I mean, what would he have done? 15, 16, 17 years now, Mitch Hedberg's been dead. All right, on this day last year, the 2021 of this day, G. Gordon Liddy died, chief operative in the Watergate scandal. G. Gordon Liddy, crazy guy, ate a rat to prove how manly he was, would hold his hand over a flame. Crazy, hardcore type A personality, G. Gordon Liddy. All right. April says, is there any way to access a recording of that Mitch Hedberg interview? No, there isn't, April. There isn't, and I'll tell you why. Because Pugs and Kelly didn't own the Pugs and Kelly show back then. And when we left 105.3, they took all of our show materials. The only show materials that I have, and I have a binder filled with shows, because of Eric, because Eric Mark was badass. Eric, when we told him, we said, dude, everything that's in the office, get it in the trunk of your car right now, because they're coming for everything. They're going to take everything. They're going to claim intellectual property. They'll never use it, but they're being punitive. They're trying to make sure that we don't use it because they don't like how we left the station. So Eric, to his credit, man, he got all of the best of shows, and he took the binders and he hid them. And then Eric had to stay after we had left, after we had walked. And he said that they were always pressuring him. They're like, where's the stuff? Where's all the stuff that was in the office? He's like, I don't know. I think they took it. I don't know. But Eric took it and Eric gave it to us. And that was one of the truly heroic things that Eric did. And I don't know. You know what, April? I should say that interview may exist. It may be on one of the best of tapes because all the Mitch Hedberg appearances made the best of stuff. But so in May, I would have to go through it. And I would have to go through it. And the big issue with me going through all the old Pugs and Kelly best of tapes or CDs is that I would have to find a CD player. I don't know how to play any of them. I don't know. Oh, goodness. But yeah, that's why. Jeff Glenwright IV asks, how many times did John Wayne get his oil checked at Scotty's gas station? That's yeah. I think you're barking up the wrong tree there, Jeff. I don't think that was no. I don't think it was John Wayne, because if John Wayne had been there's never even been a rumor of that. John Wayne, of the people that they talked about in that Hollywood secret Hollywood show, John Wayne would have absolutely been mentioned, because they went deep on people just as big as John Wayne. It wasn't like, oh, we can't mention John Wayne. I think John Wayne was 100% heterosexual. I don't think John Wayne was cruising Scotty's Hollywood Boulevard gas station back in the 1950s. How do I stick them on my laptop? I don't have a laptop that has any way to play a CD. None of my laptops have discs. You're the geezer with the 30-year-old laptop, Byron. There you go. Look at that comeback. All right, let's get into all the things that are trending. Let's talk about what's happening today in the world. Like I said at the very end of my prep session, I had to change the order because this is a big one that's trending right now. Bruce Willis is trending. Bruce Willis is stepping away, quote now. This is from the Hollywood Reporter, just breaking within the last hour. Bruce Willis stepping away from acting career after aphasia diagnosis. Aphasia, I know a little bit about what aphasia is, because there was an old school radio personality who I really admired, whose career was ended because he came down with aphasia. Aphasia is a disease. It affects your ability to communicate. I don't know exactly, I'd have to Google it and find out exactly what it is, but his problem was he couldn't form words anymore. The brain was fine. The ideas were in the brain, but you lack the ability to communicate your ideas. Before we go into this, because I may make a little fun of Bruce Willis here, let me preface all of this with saying that I love Bruce Willis. I love Bruce Willis. I had a brief encounter with Bruce Willis at the opening of Planet Hollywood in Chicago, like 25 years ago, when I was covering it for a radio station. And I was trying to get audio of, I think it was Dan Aykroyd. And I was walking backwards, and Dan Aykroyd was walking, and he was talking. And I bumped into this giant Planet Hollywood palm tree that they had erected, and I bumped into it, and I almost fell. And as I was like steadying myself, this dude goes, "That was almost really funny, my man." And I turned, and it was Bruce Willis. And he walked away. That's it. That's all I got for Bruce Willis. He didn't help me. He didn't study me or anything. He was just standing there with a drink, and he saw me fall, and he's like, "That was almost really funny, my man." I'm like, "Yeah, wow. Hey, Bruce, you got a second?" And he was gone. He was gone like the wind. But above and beyond that, when I was young, I don't know if he's the first person that ever affected me in this way, but when I saw him as David Addison in Moonlighting, which was the way we all came to know Bruce Willis. And he's not dead. This is not, if you're just tuning in, Bruce Willis isn't dead. He's just stopping acting because he's got an aphasia diagnosis. David Addison in Moonlighting was like the first character that I can remember. And we didn't have pause. We couldn't rewind or anything. But he was the first character that I remember listening to every word he said. I remember thinking, okay, this is what writing is, I guess. And this is what delivering a really good line is. That character of David Addison was so funny. He wasn't like, this Moonlighting wasn't necessarily a sitcom. It was a 1-hour show, Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis, but it was so good. And it was different. That the show was different for me than every other show that I'd ever seen on television. It was better. It was almost, like a precursor to what we would call peak TV. It was because, even at like 12, 13 years old, I knew that a lot of the TV I was watching was stupid. It was just like, it's dumb, but it's entertaining, whatever. Moonlighting wasn't stupid. Moonlighting was smart. Moonlighting was funny. The chemistry between Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd was amazing, and totally shocking to learn that they despised each other. But they were able to pull it off. They were able to make the world before Sam and Diane. There was David and Maddie. David and Maddie were my original Sam and Diane. You want to talk about Cheers and that? Will they? Won't they? Sam and Diane, to me, had nothing on David Addison and Maddie and Moonlighting. That was incredible. Let's see here. This is a really challenging time for our family, and we are so appreciative of your continued love, compassion, and support, said the actor's family in a statement posted Wednesday morning. Bruce Willis is stepping away from his acting career after being diagnosed with aphasia, which leads to the loss of ability to understand or express speech. Yeah, okay, that's kind of how I understood it. His family said in a statement posted to social media. To Bruce's amazing supporters, as a family, we wanted to share that our beloved Bruce has been experiencing some health issues and has recently been diagnosed with aphasia, which is impacting his cognitive abilities. As a result of this, and with much consideration, Bruce is stepping away from the career that has meant so much to him. The 67-year-old film star is best known for playing John McClane in the iconic Die Hard franchise. The original 1988 film made Willis a film and action star after he was mainly known as a comedic TV actor, specifically in the series Moonlighting. Willis has starred in such blockbusters as Fifth Element, Armageddon, The Sixth Sense. Willis' other classics include The Last Boy Scout, Death Becomes Her, Pulp Fiction, and 12 Monkeys. This is a really challenging time for our family, and we are so appreciative of your continued love, compassion, and support. We are moving through this as a strong family unit and wanted to bring his fans in because we know how much he means to you as you do to him. As Bruce always says, live it up! And together we plan to do just that. Love, Emma, Demi, Rumor, Scout, Tallulah, Mabel, and Evelyn. Those are his kids and his wives. Willis was immediately trending on social media as the news broke, as fans were sharing their disbelief and sadness over the development. Let's see here. And then it goes into basically the statement that I just read. All right, it is time. We're gonna do it. Bruce Willis movie draft. Yeah, that's right. Everybody loves the movie draft segment here on the show. Although I didn't have time to really look this through, so let me do this quickly. Bruce Willis movie draft. In the first round, I will take in the Bruce Willis movie draft. I don't want to go with the obvious. Let me look through them all. Let me see what we got here. First pick in the Bruce Willis movie draft, I am going with. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna stun again with the first pick in the Bruce Willis movie draft. The show Pugs and Company High Noon edition selects with the first overall pick, which I think is his best role. Where's it? Hold on, where is it? David Dunn in M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable. That's right, first pick. Unbreakable. Until Zack Snyder's Justice League, I liked to argue that Unbreakable was the best superhero movie that I've ever seen. And people go, what? Unbreakable's not a superhero movie. And I go, oh yeah, it is. Watch it. It just doesn't have the fancy costumes and all that kind of stuff. But we are talking Mr. Glass, Samuel L. Jackson. He was a super villain. Unbreakable, Bruce Willis. He was born with this ability to never get sick and never get hurt and never die. That's a superpower. And it was about Mr. Glass and Mr. Unbreakable. We didn't call him that, and they didn't have a cape or anything. No, but Bruce Willis created a uniform. Remember the hoodie sweatshirt and all that? All right, it wasn't a tradition. It was an M. Night Shyamalan take on what a superhero movie could be. I love Unbreakable. What a good movie that is. I still love that movie. All right, well, number 2, we're going to go with John McClane and Die Hard. That's right. If it's still on the board, we're going to take it. Die Hard. In the third round of the Bruce Willis draft, we are going to go with we're going to go with another M. Night Shyamalan movie. The Sixth Sense. The Sixth Sense in the third round. In the fourth round of the Bruce Willis movie draft, just because he wasn't a star, but none of these movies really have stars per se. He played a very crucial character in one of the great segments of the film Pulp Fiction. Butch Coolidge, the boxer, Butch Coolidge in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. And in the fifth round, we're going to take, and I know this is, look, I got to give him credit for his comedy. He does a lot of, he's great at comedy. I know he became more of an action guy and all that. I love this movie. I saw this movie when I was in high school, and Kim Basinger and Bruce Willis in Blind Date in the fifth round. I don't know if you've ever seen Blind Date. Blind Date's hysterical. Blind Date is about Bruce Willis who gets set up on a blind date with Kim Basinger, and they don't know each other. And Kim Basinger is like, I don't remember. I guess I'd have to watch it again, but she is a maniac. And he keeps justifying how insane she is because she's so beautiful. It's like, I'll put up with it, but Blind Date is funny. They should remake Blind Date. They should in the vein of The Hangover or whatever, that kind of modernization of a comedy movie. They should remake Blind Date. Blind Date's really funny. You remake it with Amy Poehler. I guess it's got to be somebody who's Amy Poehler's beautiful, but it's got to be somebody who's so unbelievably attractive that you might look past some of the absolutely ridiculous things that they do because they're attractive. Blind Date. I love that movie. And I just saw that. All right. So there you go. So the picks are first round Unbreakable, second round Sixth Sense, third round Pulp Fiction, first round Unbreakable, second round Die Hard, third round Unbreakable, fourth round Sixth Sense, and fifth round with the Bruce Willis movie draft. I am taking Blind Date from 1987. You're really pushing it with that blind date thing. I don't care. I like it. This is my draft. That is one of my favorite Bruce Willis movies. The other night, I was scrolling through, I don't know what it was. I was looking for a movie to watch. And I saw there's a new movie starring Bruce Willis out. And I said to myself, what is he doing? Why? Over the last like couple of years, Bruce Willis has just been doing paycheck movies. He's been doing like really stupid, like dumb, like this isn't great acting. This is, he plays an angry colonel and the world is being attacked. That all of these kinds of things. He's been doing these. And I thought to myself, I said, well, yeah, God love him, man. He must be, and this was just like Saturday night. I'm like, he must be at the end of he must be just thinking that it's time now to cash some paychecks. And these movies like this that aren't huge budget movies, he's probably the most expensive thing in them. When they say, okay, we're going to make this stupid action movie and it's probably going to be direct to video, but we're going to have Bruce Willis. So we'll put him on the box cover or on the poster and we'll pay him $5 million for this movie. And he's probably just cashing paychecks. And I thought, well, you know what? That's his right. He's done so much great stuff. He's been such a good, cool guy seemingly throughout his career. Well, let him have this. Let him have this. I'm not going to judge him. I'm not going to judge Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is cool. And now today we hear this and I'm like, wow. Maybe he's known for a while that something wasn't quite right. So he decided to just start cashing in all these. Here, I'll read some of them to you. Some of these like Bruce Willis movies that just in the last couple of years he's been doing that aren't really a star the caliber of Bruce Willis's wheelhouse. Let's see. What was the most? I'm sure the most recent one will be pulled up. Okay, so here we go. So what was the most recent one that I saw? Here. And now I might go back and watch it. Yeah, okay, so it was American Siege. Look at this. Oh my God. I didn't even realize this. Since 2019, okay? These are all direct-to-video films. 2009. This is the work that Bruce Willis has been doing since 2019. These are direct to video. Every single one of them, direct to video. 10 Minutes Gone, Trauma Center, Survive the Night, Hard Kill, Breach, Cosmic Sin, Out of Death, Midnight in the Switchgrass. Oh no, that's not direct to video. That's the one exception. Survive the Game, Apex, Deadlock, Fortress, American Siege, Gasoline Alley, A Day to Die, Fortress, Sniper's Eye. And then he's got a couple in the can that haven't come out yet. The Wrong Place, Die Like Lovers, Corrective Measures, Paradise City. Yeah, so that's about $100 million in work right there for Bruce Willis from the direct-to-video column. So God love him. I don't want to see Bruce Willis. I know I'm spending a little bit more time on this because I really do like the guy. I don't want to see Bruce Willis in 10 years, in a wheelchair. I don't want to see him go the Richard Pryor route, how sad Richard Pryor was because he had this, and I don't know that this is a degenerative disease. I just know that it affects your ability to communicate. Oh boy. All right. So there you go. Jeff says maybe he knew he was sick and was looking to make bank while he still could. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. April, her draft is her Bruce Willis movie draft is Die Hard, Unbreakable, Sixth Sense, 12 Monkeys, Armageddon, The Kid. Armageddon. That's cool. 12 Monkeys. I love 12 Monkeys. Also The Fifth Element. And, The Fifth Element was another one that I looked at and I went, ooh, that could make my list, but it didn't. Adam says Die Hard is great. How dare you, Pugs? I enjoyed Die Hard. I think they milked the franchise a little bit too much. And here's why I resisted putting Die Hard as his number one. It is certainly a signature film. I think that, when we're all going to die, but when Bruce Willis eventually dies, Die Hard will be the first movie that they talk about. I just think Die Hard gets a little bit too much love. I think Die Hard, first of all, Die Hard came out around the same time as Lethal Weapon, and Lethal Weapon's a better movie. Lethal Weapon is a better movie than Die Hard. There, I said it. And also, I get upset every Christmas time when people start making that stupid argument. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. No, it's not. No, it is not. There is no Christmas thing in Die Hard. The movie happens to take place in December around Christmas time, but it's not about Christmas. There's nothing Christmassy about Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Wow, that's such an interesting, unique take. I've never heard that before. You must be funny. You must be a funny, interesting person. I hate when people say that. Also trending today. Let's get into some of the other things that are trending. This was such a weird thing. It started trending last night and it's still trending today, right now. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is trending. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, for people who are not familiar with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, is one of the greatest basketball players who has ever lived. He dabbled in acting. He's a black belt in karate. He did a bunch of Bruce Lee movies back in the day. He was friends with Bruce. But above and beyond all of that, jazz aficionado, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is considered to be one of the great jazz historians alive. Yes, he's an NBA guy, but he's also the musical format of jazz. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is like upper echelon when it comes in. So you're just saying that because he's Kareem. No, he is Kareem. And also, if he didn't play basketball, he would be a professor of jazz. Like that is the level of interest and obsession that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has with jazz music. But above and beyond all of that, Kareem Abdul has always been seen as a very intellectual guy, a very smart guy, not the dumb jock. In fact, if you're watching the HBO miniseries Winning Time, about the Showtime Lakers of the 1980s. One of my favorite characters, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar character is my favorite character because every time you see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Winning Time, he is depicted reading some book that is like The Art of War or, some real philosophical, intellectual book. And he doesn't say, he's always listening to his jazz records. He's got headphones on and he's feeding his mind. And people are always coming to him in the movie because he's Kareem and he's like the boss of the Lakers. He's like this is just before Magic came in. Kareem was like the captain, the guy, the boss, the top guy. So every complaint that a player would have, they'd come in and they'd bother Kareem about it. And Kareem is depicted as just like, you're interrupting my reading, man. He's just a real soulful, intellectual, militant, but a smart, well-read guy. So that has always been Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And Kareem is trending because he wrote an absolutely incredible piece on the Will Smith, Chris Rock situation. I'll read some of it to you, okay? I don't know that I'll read the entire thing. If you have an opportunity to read the whole thing yourself, but we're going to talk about why it's trending. It's very interesting why it's trending. Let's see if we can find it here. All right, here it is. Kareem Abdul on the Will Smith, Chris Rock incident. Will Smith did a bad thing. When Will Smith stormed onto the Oscar stage to strike Chris Rock for making a joke about his wife's short hair, he did a lot more damage than just to Rock's face. With a single petulant blow, he advocated violence, diminished women, insulted the entertainment industry, and perpetuated stereotypes about the Black community. That's a lot to unpack. Let's start with the facts. Rock made a reference to Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, as looking like Demi Moore in G.I. Jane, in which Moore had shaved her head. Jada Pinkett Smith suffers from alopecia, which causes hair loss. Okay, I can see where the Smiths might not have found that joke funny. But Hollywood award shows are traditionally a venue where much worse things have been said about celebrities as a means of downplaying the fact that it's basically a gathering of multimillionaires giving each other awards to boost business so that they can make even more money. Jeez, Kareem, he just nailed the Oscars right there. The Smiths could have reacted by politely laughing along with the joke or by glowering angrily at Rock. Instead, Will Smith felt the need to get up in front of his industry peers and millions of people around the world, hit another man, then return to his seat to bellow, "Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," twice. Some have romanticized Smith's actions as that of a loving husband defending his wife. Comedian Tiffany Haddish, who starred in the movie Girls Trip with Pinkett Smith, praised Smith's action, saying, "For me, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen because it made me believe that there are still men out there that love and care about their woman." Actually, it was the opposite. Smith's slap was also a slap to women. If Rock had physically attacked Pinkett Smith, Smith's intervention would have been welcome. Or if he'd remained in his seat and yelled his post-slap threat, that would have been unnecessary, but understandable. But by hitting Rock, he announced that his wife was incapable of defending herself against words. From everything I'd seen of Pinkett Smith over the years, she's a very capable, tough, smart woman who can single-handedly take on a lame joke at the Academy Awards. This patronizing paternal attitude infantilizes women and reduces them to helpless damsels needing a big, strong man to defend their honor, lest they swoon from the vapors. If he was really doing it for his wife and not his own need to prove himself, he might have thought about the negative attention this brought on them. Much harsher than the benign joke. That would have been truly defending and respecting her. This, quote, "women need men to defend them," is the same justification currently being proclaimed by conservatives passing laws to restrict abortion and the LGBTQ community. Worse than the slap was Smith's tearful, self-serving acceptance speech in which he rambled on about all the women in the movie King Richard that he'd protected. Those who protect don't brag about it in front of 15 million people, Will. They just do it and shut up. You don't do it as a movie promotion claiming how you're like the character you just won an award portraying. By using these women to virtue signal, Will Smith was in fact exploiting them to benefit himself. But of course, the speech was about justifying his violence. Apparently, so many people need Smith's protection that occasionally it gets too much and someone needs to be smacked. What is the legacy of Smith's violence? He's brought back the toxic bro ideal of embracing Cobra Kai teachings of might makes right and talk is for losers. Let's not forget that this macho John Wayne philosophy was expressed in 2 movies in which Wayne spanked grown women to teach them a lesson. Young boys, especially black boys, watching their movie idol not just hit another man over a joke, but then justify it as him being a superhero-like protector of women, are now much more prone to follow his childish footsteps. Perhaps the saddest confirmation of this is the tweet from Smith's child, Jaden. Quote, "And that's how we do it," the son of Will and Jada Pinkett Smith tweeted. Now, this is the controversial part. This is the part that is going to keep him trending. The black community, this is how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar starts this out. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, for 50 years now, has been a outspoken and marginalized person that he has been put in a corner by mainstream. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar doesn't get a whole lot of advertising, right? He's not a big pitch man the way O.J. Simpson was or whatever, because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had opinions that, you know, many would conclude the white power structure of the time didn't like him speaking up on these things, and he paid a price for it. So when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was one of the first people who changed his name from Lou Alcindor to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in step with Muhammad Ali, I mean, when he says something, when he talks about the black experience in America, it means something. He's a guy who's been fighting the battles. He's a guy who's been in the trenches on the issue of protecting and defending the black community since the 1960s. The black community, he says, also takes a direct hit from Smith. One of the main talking points from those supporting the systematic racism in America is characterizing blacks as more prone to violence and less able to control their emotions. Well, Smith just gave comfort to the enemy by providing them with the perfect optics they were dreaming of. Fox News host Jeanine Pirro wasted no time going full metal racist by declaring, "The Oscars are not the hood." What would she have said if Brad Pitt slapped Ricky Gervais? The Oscars are not Rodeo Drive. Many will be reinvigorated to continue their campaign to marginalize African Americans and others through voter suppression campaigns. As for the damage to show business, Smith's violence is an implied threat to all comedians who now have to worry that an edgy or insulting joke might be met with violence. Good thing Don Rickles, Bill Burr, or Ricky Gervais weren't there. As comedian Kathy Griffin tweeted, now we all have to worry about who wants to be the next Will Smith in comedy clubs and theaters. The one bright note is that Chris Rock, clearly stunned, managed to handle the moment with grace and maturity. If only Smith's acceptance speech had shown similar grace and included, instead of self-aggrandizing excuses, a heartfelt apology to Rock. I met Will Smith when I appeared on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air 28 years ago, and I've been to his house. I like him. He's charming, sincere, and funny. I'm also a big fan of his movies. He's an accomplished and dedicated actor who deserves the professional accolades he's received. But it will be difficult to watch the next movie without remembering this sad performance. I don't want to see him punished or ostracized because of this one, albeit a big one, mistake. I just want this to be a cautionary tale for others not to romanticize or glorify bad behavior. And I want Smith to be the man who really protects others by admitting the harm that he's done. Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior last night at the Academy Awards was, he's now reading Will Smith's apology. And that's it. That's basically it. So Kareem, for me, and this is where I'm stunned, and this is why he's still trending almost 24 hours later. That's what I think. So I click on the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar thread and I start to read it, and I was really disturbed by the reaction to it. 100% of the people who were applauding Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for what he wrote were white people. And not all, but there was a very large number of Black Twitter users, and specifically blue check people of color, blue check celebrities, people who are verified on Twitter because, you don't want people pretending to be them and tweeting shit. An incredibly disheartening number of blue check people of color who, and I made a note of this, many of them were in their 20s and in their 30s who obviously lack the knowledge of what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has been doing since the 1960s, were calling him a racist. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was being called by not all, but a number of people of color, despised what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote, and they all hung on one thing. The one thing that the Black blue check community, by and large, most, not all, hung on was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar thinks the actions of Will Smith represent the actions of all Black men. To the tweet. That is what people were saying. That is what the people who were opposed to this were saying. And it's so incredibly upsetting because that is not what he said. What he said is the exact same thing that I said, which is, he never said it reflects on all Black people. What his concern is that one single action gave ammunition to the Fox Newses. He didn't say that Will Smith's action is just a typical of all Black people, and that's what that is not at all what he said. And yet people of color on Twitter seem to misinterpret what he had said. What he said was exactly what I had said, was that every racist AM talk show host is now going to see, that's how those people are. That is not what Kareem said. What Kareem said is that he has given ammunition to our enemies, that the enemies will do that. He's not doing that. He is saying that is just an unbelievable natural occurrence that is going to follow because of what he did. Not that all black people need to be judged by the actions of one high-profile black person, but that the racists out there, and he said that we are in a very troubling time where these things are going on. They're trying to restrict the rights of people of color and their ability to vote, and all of these things that are going on. We have no doubt that there are people who are more emboldened in their bigoted and racist views than ever before. And yet you have all of these black people going, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's right. I'm like, shut up. You people don't even get what he's saying. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was right. What Will Smith did was bad on so many levels. He's not saying that Will Smith is anything like a guy on a street corner who commits violence. A guy on a street corner who commits violence is just a guy on a street corner who commits violence. Will Smith is Will Smith. It's a much different, it's apples and oranges. So, man, I read that and I'm like, good Lord, y'all. Good Lord. How? And every single white person was like, yeah, that was good. Well said, Kareem. Well said, Kareem. They're like, you're just an Uncle Tom, Kareem. I'm like, no. If anybody is not an Uncle Tom, it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, it's also troubling that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's son stabbed his neighbor in the head 8 times last month. He's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's son. And that a lot of people were taking that shot. But you need to mind your own family because your son did some pretty squirt. Well, okay, all right. So that's can't deny that happened. But Kareem didn't do that. This is Kareem talking about what he witnessed and why. Let's be more general about it. Just he was talking about the bulk of it was about how we need to stop with this masculine thing where this woman is a damsel in distress, the white knight issue. If you aren't smart enough to be able to determine when it is important to step up and defend your woman, and you just think that someone saying something mean to her in a tuxedo on a stage at the Academy Awards is the same thing as some guy grabbing her ass in a bar, you're stupid. You're a stupid person. You sit there and you take it. Will Smith in his acceptance speech, he said, the woe is me. Get the violins out for him. In this business, you have to suffer all kinds of disrespect and indignities. Oh, shut up. You've got a 30,000-foot house in Malibu on the ocean. You make millions and millions of dollars. Your kids are obnoxious little punks. You're acting like you are indignities. You are a movie star, Will Smith. You get chauffeured everywhere. It's a trade-off, dude. Oh, because you get your feelings hurt because sometimes people write in the newspaper that you're not nice. What do you think it's like to be a regular person, Will Smith? In this business, you have to suffer the indignities. And Denzel said to me, when you're at your highest moment, the devil comes for you. Oh, God, stop it. Stop self-aggrandizing yourself. You did something terrible. You acted like an idiot. You lost control of your emotions, not because of what was said in the moment to your wife, because 30 years of you being mocked as a cuck. That's why you saw an opportunity to show the world what a man you are. And it was stupid. You gave in to your infantile, emotionally immature urges, and you made an ass of yourself. And that's why Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is trending. All right, there you go. Adam says it's an antiquated notion to some that black people have to act above to be equal. We're also not black, so we can't understand that experience. I don't believe that was what he was saying. Again, Adam, are you arguing that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was saying that black people need to act better? Because that's not what he was saying. What he said was that his actions in this particular time in our history gave fuel to the Fox Newses and the conservative talk show hosts and all the people who are blowing dog whistles. And that's exactly what he did. And it's exactly what he did. I don't think that he said that. And he's not saying that. He wasn't saying that black people shouldn't jump up on stage and slap someone for a joke. He made the point perfectly clear. Nobody should do that. But because in this instance that it was Will Smith, I mean, I am seeing this. I am seeing people who watched it, who saw it, who initially were like, oh my God, you can't do that, who now have been listening to bullshit justifications from people who are now going, well, I don't know. I guess it was kind of justified. No, it fucking wasn't. That guy acted like an asshole. I don't care if he's white, black, whatever. He acted like an asshole. He acted like an idiot. I mean, all I could think of were the award shows that Ricky Gervais has hosted where he has just eviscerated people, where he is just, I mean, this is what happens. This is what Amy Schumer said some really rough things at the Oscars about celebrities. She made fun of, who was it? She made fun of, was it Bradley Cooper or somebody? She made fun of somebody. Nobody jumped up on stage and was like, you can't say that about me. It's entertainment. You're supposed to be able to suffer the slings and arrows and criticisms, certainly from people in party gowns and tuxedos on stage at an event where they're going to give you a nice gold trophy. I mean, it's not exactly like some idiot columnist trying to get clicks by writing some bullshit about you in the paper. That you have to take too, but that you're allowed to be angry about. You're not supposed to be angry when you're out there on the fanciest night of the year and everybody is watching you and wishing they could be you and thinking about the parties that you're going to go to afterwards, and you're wearing your cool clothes and you're with your beautiful woman and everyone's going to applaud you and tell you how wonderful you are. Oh, here's your golden trophy, man. You're the best. Stop it. You take the shit that people on stage says. It's not horrible. And it's like a roast. It is like a roast. They're supposed to be funny. They're saying these things so that we people at home who don't live a life quite as cool as you can go, ooh, he gave it to him. That's the trade-off. You make $20 million a movie. You have a beautiful wife. You have a wonderful life. You have a $30,000 or 30,000 foot home in Malibu, and another one in the hills, and another one in Aspen, and another one in London. That's the trade-off. You have to sit there and let another famous person make fun of you a little bit without jumping up and acting like an a-hole. Rob Barr says, what happened to sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, yeah, I mean, and again, there is a difference. This isn't like some drunk in a bar verbally harassing your woman. That's different. That's real life. That's where you have to defend because you don't know who this weirdo is and you don't know where this is going. In the situation between Chris Rock and Will Smith knew it was Chris Rock and he knew where it was going. And where was it going? An award for the best documentary. That's where it was going. It wasn't going to escalate. Chris Rock wasn't going to say that and then go, yeah, what are you going to do about it? Huh, bitch? That's not real life. And yet, and I applaud what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was able to do in his statement where he said that was self-aggrandizing. Will Smith did not do that to protect his wife. He did that for his own image. He did that because his wife made him cry on their little internet show. Said little again. It's not little. There's like millions of people. His wife made him cry in front of the world when she admitted to sleeping around and having an affair behind his back. He cried. And for years, cuck, he's a cuck. He's a little bitch. He just took it. And he saw the opportunity there to be like, oh, you want to see what a man does? Nah, that's not what a man does. Moving on. All right. Jim Carrey is also trending, but we've already covered enough of this. Jim Carrey is trending because he basically slammed the Oscars in general. He slammed Will Smith. He just basically said that, God, man, those people suck, which is cool because I like Jim Carrey, and Jim Carrey has reached that point in his career where he's got all the money in the bank. He doesn't need to kiss anybody's ass anymore. He doesn't need to play the Hollywood game. And he gave a very good interview to Gayle King yesterday, an interview that became contentious at times. Like Gayle King said almost went in an area where she was trying to justify it. And Jim Carrey was like, stop it. No, that's not what I said. And you shouldn't be. It was really interesting. If you have an opportunity to see the Jim Carrey interview with Gayle King, it was short. I think the clip is only like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, something like that. But it's interesting. Jim Carrey was not having it. Foo Fighters are trending. The Foo Fighters are trending because they've announced that they have canceled all dates and that the band is now on hiatus indefinitely. This was my concern, although it's completely understandable. I love the Foo Fighters. I've seen the Foo Fighters a number of times. May never be able to see the Foo Fighters again. We'll certainly never be able to see the real Foo Fighters because the real Foo Fighters had Taylor Hawkins. Taylor Hawkins died last Friday. It is looking like it was a drug overdose, and that's incredibly sad. And the night that it was happening, we were discussing it in the chat room. I came on and did one of those special breaking news live streams on late Friday night when this news first came across. And we were openly speculating in the chat room, like, is this the end of the Foo Fighters? Think about it. Don't think about it like, you're a fan of the Foo Fighters and you don't want them to end. So no, they'll keep going. They'll just get a new drummer. No, think about it in the realm of the relationship between Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins. They were like blood brothers. They were like best friends. And does Dave Grohl have anything left to accomplish? He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. He's in with Nirvana and he's in with the Foo Fighters. The Foo Fighters band have already made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Does Dave Grohl want to go up on stage with the big Foo Fighters banner and turn around and there's a different guy playing drums? That's the question. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think so. That's not to say that Nate and Pat and Dave, it's not to say that they'll never play together again, but they may play together again in a new band. And there might be some new people, and it might be a new experience. It might be a new kind of music. But as far as the Foo Fighters go, I think they're done. I do not see Dave Grohl. I see Dave Grohl playing a couple of concerts in honor of Taylor Hawkins, but as far as like going in and recording a new album, Taylor Hawkins wrote a bunch of the songs with him. They were like co-writers, and he, so I just don't see it. And the first step of that, well, I mean, this was not necessarily the first step. This was probably predictable that the rest of the Foo Fighters tour would be canceled. I mean, they don't want to be holding drummer auditions today. They want to be crying today. They want to be getting prepared for the funeral and whatever that's going to be. And all of that stuff. So, so that's been released today. The Foo Fighters have canceled all dates. The band is now on hiatus, and the word that was used was indefinitely, which means they might be done. Alex Jones is trending. This is a feel good. Alex Jones is trending because Alex Jones is teetering on the brink of financial devastation, and it's because of his Sandy Hook stuff. Alex Jones, Sandy Hook, we know what it was. If you're a parent, it's one of the most horrifying mass shooting incidents in American history. First graders slaughtered by some psycho. Alex Jones, since the Sandy Hook story came about, has been saying that it didn't happen. Didn't happen. That's a lie. That's one of them false flags. The parents that you see crying on the news for 6 months, they were actors and real good actors, and they were paid to do that because this is all a liberal hoax for. All right. So he's been saying that because he's an absolutely despicable piece of shit. This is a guy with kids. Imagine the emptiness in your heart when you have a child, and to be able to look at the parent of somebody who obviously has gone through something. And I don't believe for a minute that Alex Jones actually thinks it was a false flag. What Alex Jones believes is that the morons who listen to him will believe anything. And he needed something crazy to get them all tittering about. But imagine knowing that that's fake, knowing that you're making it up, right? Knowing that this is just a device to get to gin up the rubes, the people who listen to you, because you recognize at some point that your audience is a bunch of morons. I mean, and you either go, man, I can't sleep at night knowing that what I'm doing with my life's work is appealing to really ignorant people. And you change and you try and become better, or you just lean into it because you're soulless and your heart is empty. And that's what Alex Jones has done. Alex Jones has decided, well, I've got 1 million morons. Let's play to the morons. I don't care. I wonder if it started out that way, though, with Alex Jones. I wonder if that was just his natural act, and his natural act just appealed to idiots. Because then it's like, yeah, it's not exactly talent, dude. It's only talent if you appeal to people who are decent and not insane. Anyone can appeal to an insane person. Insane people will like anything. So, judges have ruled that he is to be held liable in the anti-defamation suits that the parents of the Sandy Hook children have brought against him. And Alex Jones attempted to settle it. He offered each parent $120,000. He said, "Look, I'll just give you each check for $120,000 and it will be over." And the parents today said, "Fuck you. Fuck you. We want it all. We don't want your 120. We don't want you to just lose a couple $1,000,000. We want it all, you son of a bitch." And all I can do is applaud those parents. Oh, take him down. Your child is gone. Seek your revenge and seek your vengeance on this piece of shit. I want him living out of his car when this is all over. And so that's what's happening. That's why Alex Jones is trending. Sandy Hook families reject Alex Jones' offer to settle defamation case. They're like, no, Alex. No. We want to go to court. We want to stand up in front of the jury and tell them how much you hurt us. We want this jury to see us crying, holding up pictures of our children who were slaughtered, and then have to listen to what you said. I mean, come on. He's going to be destroyed financially. It is going to be a massive, it's just going to be everything. Give him everything. Alex Jones. And Alex Jones knows that. That's why he desperately offered this. He'll come back. He'll make another offer. He's soulless. He probably lowballed him in the beginning. He'll come back with another one. All right, each family gets $200,000. And again, they'll go, no, Alex, no. We are going to stand up. We're going to cry. We're going to show the pictures of our children. We're going to let the jury see their faces. And then we're going to play tapes of you totally belittling the whole situation and saying that we're not real people and that our children really didn't die. Now, we're just going to, and it'll go over. All right, I'll give you $300,000. No, Alex, we're going to stand in front of a jury. It's going to be terrible for him. I imagine his attorney's going to quit. He's going to have to get new attorneys because this is going to be bad. So F you, Alex Jones. Eric Church is trending. Eric Church. I like Eric Church. Eric Church, country music guy. Springsteen is a great song. He's a big weed head. He's a big pro weed kind of guy, Eric Church is trending. And again, I prefaced it by saying that I like Eric Church. But I don't like him quite as much now. He is trending for one of the most selfish and self-centered reasons possible. Eric Church has canceled his lone concert in San Antonio that is sold out. All the tickets have been sold. People have been waiting for this concert for months. And Eric Church is canceling the concert because he wants to watch Duke and North Carolina in the NCAA Final Four. This guy is just shitting on his fans because what? He doesn't have a DVR in the bus? Because what? He can't figure out a way. And no, it's not even that. He needs to be at the game. It's not even about him watching the game. He needs to be at the game. Country music star Eric Church is trading in his shades for Carolina Blue this weekend. Church announced the last-minute cancellation of his upcoming concert in Texas so that he could watch the number 8 North Carolina Tar Heels versus the number 2 Duke Blue Devils in the Final Four. In a message on Ticketmaster, the 44-year-old musician explained to his fan club, the, quote, church choir, that he'll be in attendance in New Orleans to cheer on his Tar Heels alongside his family. As a lifelong Carolina basketball fan, I've watched Carolina and Duke battle over the years, Church said. But to have them match up in the Final Four, dude, People have fucking spent good money and who love you and are so excited that you're coming to their town. And now a couple of days before it, you're telling them piss off because you want to go to a basketball game. You spoiled, pampered, self-centered piece of shit. That is so unprofessional. That is so incredibly self-centered. I can't, I mean, and like I said, I like Eric Church until now. Now I'm like, crap. This was like Khalil Mack. I always liked Khalil Mack. I thought Khalil Mack was a cool guy. And then one Halloween, he paid a big giant security guard to stand out in front of the gate to his house and tell people to move along when they wanted to trick or treat at Khalil Mack's house. And I went, you know what? That guy. That guy's a dick. Why don't you hire that very same guy to just hand out candy to the kids as they walk by? He didn't even think to do that. He just hired some big, scary guy to stand in front of the walkway of Khalil Mack's house in Chicago and tell little kid trick-or-treaters from the neighborhood who knew Khalil Mack lived in their neighborhood to just move along. We aren't doing so. We aren't doing Halloween. That's a dick move. That is a selfish dick move. That is an you just have no understanding of how people view that kind of shit. And I think that's what this is with Eric Church. I couldn't imagine it. I have been in my younger days. You buy tickets to a concert like 6-7 months before the concert and you're so excited and you wait and then finally the day comes and oh my God, 1 week from tonight, we're going to see Aerosmith or whatever it is, Eric Church did that to his fans. He just said, I want to watch a basketball game. And it's not just watch it. I need to go there. So it's official. It is official. I said earlier this week that my pick was it was going to be Kansas and North Carolina in the championship. Not anymore. I am rooting against North Carolina because of what Eric Church has done to his fans. Not showing up, and they're not rescheduling either. It's just canceled. It isn't going to be rescheduled in San Antonio. Fuck those people. They're shit out of luck because Eric Church wants to go to a basketball game. Dude, you are a super millionaire. You are a big, famous dude, and you are big and famous, and you have all of these incredible things in your life because of those people that you just shit on because you want to watch a basketball game. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Kyle Rittenhouse is trending. Talk about ridiculous. Kyle Rittenhouse is trending because he went on Jenna Ellis, former Stop the Steal lawyer, Jenna Ellis. Kyle Rittenhouse is trending because he is outraged that when he called President Joe Biden didn't call him back. Talk about another person who has absolutely no self-awareness. Who are you again? Who are you again? You think the leader of the free world, the president of the United States, is going to talk to you? Who are you again? Are you insane? And he was lamenting it on this podcast or this radio show, whatever it was that he did with Jen Ellis. But he's trending because he's pissed off that Biden. This just shows what kind of man Joe Biden is. Oh, kid, stop it. You know what? You were acquitted of a crime. A lot of people think you got away with murder. I'm not one of them. We covered the trial here. I thought that the acquittal was justified. I wasn't completely. I mean, it was a terrible situation and people died, but I'm not entirely certain that you were deserving of murder charges. I don't like you. I think you're kind of an idiot, and just go away now. Just go away. You are not somebody worthy of the president of the United States time. And the idea that you have now so inflated your ego in the months since being acquitted that you think that you are a tastemaker, an influencer of the public, that the president of the United States needs to stop what he's doing and talk to you, a 19-year-old kid who's only famous because you were acquitted of a murder? Get out of here. So stop with yourself, Kyle Rittenhouse. Game of Thrones is trending. House of Dragons. The House of Dragons are trending. Boy, I just hope that HBO doesn't cancel the August. It's been announced August 21st. I just hope that HBO doesn't cancel the August 21st premiere of Game of Thrones prequel, The House of Dragons, because there's a football game they want to watch. I sure hope there's not a good football game on that Sunday, because I am counting the days. I am counting the days until August 24th. Oh, I'm a throne head. Oh my God, I'm a dragon guy. I love the Game of Thrones. It is, we could have this conversation. It's in my top 3 favorite television shows of all time. You got your Battlestar Galactica up there. You got your Sopranos. I don't know. We would have to really talk out what is so great about each of those shows and which one actually takes the number 1 spot in my heart for favorite show of all time. But House of Dragons, now for those of you who are unaware, and by the way, you've got plenty of time. It's not starting until August 21st. So if you missed out on the whole Game of Thrones thing, plenty of time to binge watch all 7 seasons or 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, so that by the time the House of Dragons starts, you're like, okay, all right, I understand the context of what's happening here. House of Dragons is the story that I wanted. House of Dragons is a prequel to Game of Thrones. It takes place in whatever world this exists in. It takes place 2 centuries before the events of Game of Thrones, a time when dragons still exist. Because if you remember, in Game of Thrones, dragons had been extinct for 100 years or whatever, and that's why it was such a big deal when a dragon was found in Game of Thrones. But so this takes place and it concerns the Targaryen family. It concerns the founding family of Westeros, the royal family, and it's all about how they fell apart, how they imploded, how they lost the power in Westeros. Oh, does it look good, man? And I'm looking at the screenshots, and I'm looking. They all have the glorious Targaryen hair, the white locks, long, and it looks so great. Very excited. Game of Thrones, House of Dragons, HBO announces an August 21st premiere. And they're saying that this was done strategic because it was originally believed to start sometime later in October or early October. But since Amazon Prime announced the Lord of the Rings series that they're doing, that is also hotly anticipated, I'll check it out. I've never seen a Lord of the Rings movie, but I will check the new Prime series out. They moved the premiere of House of Dragons back so that they could get the jump on, whatever the elves and stuff of Lord of the Rings are doing. Game of Thrones is so good. Such a great story. I don't like dragons. It's not about dragons. Dragons just show up. You're immersed in this story, this incredible story about palace intrigue and deceit and war and politics and all of this. And then suddenly a dragon shows up and you're like, whoa, I didn't see. It's not about dragons. I don't like dragon and magic. It's not a lot of magic. It's not magic. It's dragons. There's dragons. I mean, there's supernatural stuff, paranormal things happen, but it's not like there's wizards who are casting spells and stuff. It's not Game of Thrones. God, I love Game of Thrones. Hey, Jungkook is trending. Jungkook. And I only mention this because BTS member Jungkook shares on Instagram that he's doing well after recently testing positive for COVID-19. Now, I'm mentioning Jungkook just not because he tested positive for COVID-19, but because this has been bothering me now for months. Every single day that I do this trending topics show, every single day I purposely skip over the fact that Jungkook is trending. Jungkook trends every single day. Every single day. Jungkook from BTS trends. I wake up in the morning, just as the sun rises, Jungkook is trending for something. Jungkook likes black coffee, and it's trending. It's trending at like number 5. Jungkook got a new car, and it's trending. What's Jungkook doing today? And it's trending. So this is the first time he's actually trending for something, and I'm like, okay, so a member of BTS has COVID-19. That's fine. Tested positive. Let's see here. Zuckerberg and Meta Meta is the parent company of Facebook. Zuckerberg and Meta are both trending because the Washington Post is reporting. And get this, I want to talk about some sketchy, shady corporate bullshit. Zuckerberg and Meta is trending because the Washington Post, they're reporting that Meta is paying Targeted Victory, which is a company, it's one of the biggest consulting firms in the world. Meta is paying Targeted Victory to quietly orchestrate a national disinformation campaign to turn the public against TikTok. And then the Washington Post got all the documents outlining their plan, and it's right there on the Washington Post if you want to see it. But Meta, the parent company of Facebook, doesn't like how popular TikTok is coming. So be prepared in the next couple of months to just start hearing all kinds of, your aunt, your crazy aunt, she's going to tell you something, Satanists are in charge of TikTok, I read. So just be prepared for all that, because Washington Post is reporting that they've got documents that show that Meta has employed Targeted Victory, a consulting firm, to quietly orchestrate a nationwide disinformation campaign to turn the public against TikTok. It started, here's the thing. TikTok 6 months ago, they're Chinese. The Chinese, you get a TikTok, you put it on your phone, and suddenly the Chinese can read all your texts. Fine. You know what? Chinese, they ain't getting nothing from me. You think I care that some Chinese guy over in some warehouse in Beijing, with a million other people's phone numbers, is like reading what I'm texting to my kid? I don't care. I don't care. There's nothing you're going to get from me. And what? How is that supposed to bother me? Oh, it's outrage that they're looking at your text. They don't know who you are. They don't think about you. You're not specifically being targeted. I'm a guy in a guest house in Highland Park, Texas. Nobody is interested in my texts. Nobody. Sometimes people don't even respond to my texts. They're not even interested in them. Pansexual is trending. Pansexual. When I get pansexual is trending alongside Disney. So what is pansexual? What is pansexual? Well, here's what pansexual is. Pansexual is a sexual, romantic, or emotional attraction towards people, regardless of their sex or gender identity. So bisexuality. Pansexual people may refer to themselves as gender blind, asserting that gender and sex are not determining factors in their romantic or sexual attraction to others. Pansexuality may be considered a sexual orientation in its own right, or a branch of bisexuality. That's what I just said. Or a branch of bisexuality to indicate an alternative sexual identity. Fine. I don't care what gets you off. What? So now pansexual is a thing. Fine. Why is it trending with Disney? Well, here's why it's trending with Disney. Because a key Disney executive, Karen Burke, she says that as the parent of one transgender child and one pansexual child, she supports having LGBTQIA+ and racial minorities represented through Disney characters. Okay. First of all, it seems to me that they have added a couple of letters to the old LGBTQ thing. L, lesbian. G, gay. B, bisexual. T, trans. Q, queer. I, A, plus? What else? What else is there? Again, this is where I've got to restate. I'm a middle-aged white man. I am a very open-minded guy, and I don't really judge people for anything. And I think that if you get your rocks off in a specific way that feels good to you, you go for it, folks. No judgment here. But don't blame me for being confused that all the rules have been changed recently. I mean, I'm fine with the rule changes. Hey, life goes on. We progress. Things change. Shit gets different. They change. can't be angry. It's not the way it was when I was a boy. That doesn't matter. Nothing's the way it was when you were a boy. Things are not any longer. I'm not important anymore. Recognizing that you're not important anymore, that you're not pushing the cultural wheel up the hill, that job has been ceded now to a younger generation. What they're going to do, they're going to do. So that's fine. But I don't know. I remember when it was just LGB. I remember when it was just lesbian, gay, and bi. That's like the 1990s. It was the LGB community. LGB. And then they added T. And I'm like, okay, all right, things changed. We got a new one. Bring in the T. Now it's LGBT. That's fine. And then they added the Q. And then I'm like, okay, queer? Doesn't queer is just a catch-all for all of these different things. If you're queer, that means that you're gender queer. I know what queer means. It means the same thing. Nope, we're adding it. So then it became LGBTQ, and now we've added an I and an A. All right, now back to what the story here is. First of all, Karen Burke, the Disney executive, she's got 2 kids, and one of them is transgender, and the other one is pansexual. So I kind of looked into that, and it says that like 1% of the community is transgender or pansexual. How does she have 2 kids? How does she get 2? How is she like really? She needs to play the lotto because she needs to be careful of lightning because she's going to get hit by lightning because there are all kinds of strange things here. Karen Burke, a Disney executive, has 2 children. One of them is transgender. The other one is pansexual. Great. No judgment. I'm just saying that's rare. That's rare to only have 2. And since it's not, it said 1% is what I was reading. So, that's rare. That's all I'm saying. It's rare. What? Why are you slamming gay kids or pansexual? I'm not. I am not. I'm saying I find it curious that a woman with only 2 kids wouldn't have one that is heterosexual or one that is just, boring and traditional. That's all I'm saying. She's got 2 fancy kids. She's got 2 fancy, exotic kids who are pushing back on, the percentages. The Walt Disney Company. Okay, so here's the deal. So basically what she's saying is Disney executive Karen Burke says that as a parent of one transgender child and one pansexual child, she supports having LGBTQIA+ and racial minorities represented through Disney characters. Racial minorities, absolutely. I don't know how you're going to get into the race thing when we're talking about chipmunks or a candelabra, talking an anthropomorphic candelabra. I don't know what race is that candelabra. I mean, a lot of Disney stuff doesn't really need to be shoehorned into this racial conversation, but okay. It is interesting that all of the Disney princesses are all like hot white girls. So, maybe you make a black one. That's fine. Not a problem. Seems fair. Seems that you got Pocahontas. Seems great. Mulan seems great. They've been working their way up to it. We are in different times now. So she wants to see, at least 50% of that represented. Where I push back with Disney shit is, why does LGBTQIA, where does that come in a Disney film? Because here's what we're talking about here. We're talking about Disney. Okay. I know there's Disney Plus, and I know that there is stuff on Disney Plus for people who are older, but Disney, the core of Disney, the people who go to the parks and the people who watch the cartoons and Mickey Mouse, whatever the hell, the Lion King, that is 9 years old and younger. That is not, those are little kids. Why are you making an effort to shoehorn sexual orientations into content that appeals to 9-year-old kids? I do have a problem with that. Now, if Disney wants to branch out, and they do, I guess they've got some content that is, geared towards teenagers and stuff like that. Yeah. That's fine. Because now kids are going through puberty. They're starting to become aware of their own sexuality and all of that kind of stuff. Yes, then you can start having the conversations and you can start having fair and equal representation. But if we're talking about Snow White and the 7 Dwarves, I don't think the sexual orientation of Dopey is important or appropriate. That's the most important thing. Appropriate. Why are all the 7 dwarves heterosexuals? Who says there's heterosexuals? Who says that the Seven Dwarves, that there aren't a couple of gay dudes in the Seven? There might be. It's just not a topic that ever came up, because you know what? We don't do that. We don't depict and represent that kind of stuff for little children, because it's none of them. It's none of them business. It's not important to them. Shoehorning. I think that all of the future Disney cartoons with talking rats and teapots that sing, I think that we should know who they're fucking. What? Are you kidding me? Excuse me for the language, but I said for a fact. That's how insane this has all gotten. Disney Plus, like they got like all the Marvel stuff, like Moon Knight and stuff like that. Okay, those are more grown up and mature subject matters. Absolutely, I don't care. You want to make a Marvel character who's gay? I welcome it. There may even be a Marvel. You know what? There may even be a Marvel character who's gay. I just didn't notice, because you know what? I'm not a bigot, and I don't really think about that kind of shit. But if you are gay and you are looking for self-representation in these movies, you've probably noticed, and good for you. I'm glad you found that. But it doesn't really bother me. It doesn't affect me one way or another. All right, is it spam again? Yeah, it is. I don't know why I'm so popular with spam today. End of the month, them bills are coming in. Support the show if you can. There you go. Bill, that was a bill collector. Right there. You can help the show by donating to this stream. We do it every day, Monday through Friday. Yeah, we're about $1.50 short this month, but we got a couple of days. It's April Fool's Day, so my April Fool joke to all my creditors: I won't be paying anybody till Monday at least. So help out if you can. All right, so that's why Disney is trending. Disney is trending because why is Disney getting involved in the sexual culture wars? It doesn't seem. I remember a number of years ago where this is what I loved about Disney. So Disney, like 20 years ago, had at their parks, they had Gay Day, right, where they invited all of these. But gay families and all that is a very beautiful thing. It's like, yeah, we're gonna, and the reason that they made sure that everybody knew it was Gay Day, so that if any parents who were weird about this, backward, I don't want to see two guys holding it. That's fine. You knew not to go on that day. But what happened was, the people who think that way, who are against any of these people and their private choices of how to live their lives, the people who have issues with that said, well, there shouldn't be a gay day at all. Every day should be Christian evangelical day at Disney. And so they tried to boycott Disney, and they boycotted Disney by attacking the airlines, because most people fly in to the Disney parks. And so the people who hated gay people were like, yeah, well, we're going to boycott American Airlines. We're going to boycott United Airlines, because this is how we're getting back at Disney, because Disney's letting gay people hold hands in line. And you know what the airlines said? The airlines were like, yeah, nah, not going to happen. You straight people, you breeders with your 5 kids, you fly like once every 5 years. Gay dudes fly every other weekend. We're on team gay. I always loved that boycott and how badly it backfired. Because, it really did make sense. If you're an airline and you're like, okay, so they want us to take a stand on this Disney Gay Day thing, and these straight couples with 5 kids, they are telling us, the airline, that they're not going to fly anymore if we don't take a stand against Disney's Gay Day. And the airlines went, you don't fly much as it is. You've got 5 kids. You guys go to a water park 200 miles away, and you load up the family truckster, and then you camp. That's what you guys do. The gay people, every weekend they jet off on one of our planes somewhere. So we're going to stay with them. They fly like 50 times a year. You guys fly like once every 5 years. And that's it. And then it's only because grandma in Nevada died, and you want a bereavement fee. So you know what? No, no, we're not going to support your stupid thing. So Disney has actually been pretty progressively forward on this issue for years and years. And, they're promising to have better representation. Minorities, that's fine. That's fine. You want to make one of the 7 dwarves, you want to redo the 7 dwarves, make one of them black, make one of them Chinese, make one of them Hispanic. That's fine. I got no problem with that. That'd be cute. But I don't need to know who Dopey's sleeping with. All right, Pete, speaking of who's sleeping, Pete and Kim. Pete and Kim are trending. And what are we calling them? Do Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian, do they have a name? Do they have a Pim? Kip? Pete? I don't know. Cardavison. I think Cardavison works. I like that. I just thought of that. Cardavison. A little bit wordy. Anyway, they're trending for if you're a heterosexual guy who appreciates Kim Kardashian, you're gonna hate this story. This story sucks. Cardavison is trending because Pete Davidson is demanding sex nonstop from Kim Kardashian. Pete Davidson is demanding nonstop sex from Kim Kardashian. The 28-year-old comedian has been dating the former Keeping Up with the Kardashian star, 41, since October following her divorce from rap star Kanye West, and the pair reportedly fail to have as much connection when they're outside the bedroom. A source said Pete and Kim are having the time of their lives physically, but like many of his past conquests, Pete is demanding sex nonstop, and there's not nearly as much connection when they're outside the bedroom. The insider went on to explain that Kim, who has North, 8 years old, Saint, 6 years old, Chicago, 4 years old, and Psalm, 2 years old, with the stronger hitmaker, Kanye West, is now, quote, in love with Pete because she and Kanye were, quote, out of sync for a long time before calling it quits, but hinted that the Saturday Night Live star is simply enjoying the perks of being associated with Kim and her famous family. A source close to the couple told Heat World, Kim went into this claiming that she was going to keep it very casual, but now she's convinced that she's in love when it's probably just lust. You can't blame her. She and Kanye stopped being intimate long before they split up. They were totally out of sync on every level for years, so she feels she's been starved of affection. Suddenly, Pete swoops in and starts giving her more than she can handle. It's very intoxicating for her. That story sucks. Oh yeah, let's put a story out there today about how Pete Davidson is getting nonstop sex from Kim Kardashian. Here, let me scroll Match.com, see if there's somebody I can hook up with tonight for drinks that'll go nowhere. Pete Davidson is getting it. PS5 is trending. We talked about this the other day. It was trending the other day too. PS5 restock is in. So if you're like me, you're one of these people who have been trying to get a PS5 for a kid that's been demanding a PS5. PS5s are now in stock. Oh, forget that. This has been posted for about an hour. I'm sure they're out of stock again. PS5 on. They did a PS5 release the day that it was released. 2 years ago now. Well, 2 years ago, 1 year, about a year and a half ago, just before Christmas. And I remember sitting on my phone and I had the number on speed dial. I would call and the minute they went on, the clock struck midnight, whatever time it was that they went on. So the minute that they were available, I called and got, we're sorry, that item is out of stock. It wasn't even 30 seconds after the time. 30 seconds, the entire initial stock of PS5s were gone globally. So PS5 is trending because apparently they're at Walmarts and Targets and they're available on Amazon and all that kind of stuff. Except they're not. They're gone now. I am certain that they are gone now. A year and a half after they were initially released, you still can't get a piece. And also, these aren't the full console PS5s. These are just the digital editions. So it's like the slimmer one, which is fine. It's like $100 less. That's fine. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You just got to download all the games instead of playing hard copies. Dyson Zone is trending. This is weird. Dyson, Dyson, the people who make like the Lamborghini of vacuum cleaners. If you're super rich and you think that you need a Lamborghini, it's crazy expensive vacuum cleaners for rich people. That's what Dyson is. Dyson is now getting into the headphone game, and they are releasing the Dyson Zone headphones. But here's the weird thing about it. Here, I'll show it to you. Would you wear this? I don't know if I'm gonna wear this. Here, check this out. The Dyson Zone. All right, there we go. Dyson Zone. Here, I want to show you these. Yep. Okay. All right, here. This is what the new Dyson Zone headphones look like. Oh, bam! Look at that. Look at that. You see it? You know what it is? It's a headphone and an air purifier that you wear over your mouth. The ear holes in the headphone take in the outside air, and then it's filtered and it's purified, and then you breathe it. You put it. It's like a mask. It's like a thing you wear over your face, and it gives you pure air. And there are some interesting aspects to it that I found, curious. Like, for instance, if you're running or if you're working out and you're wearing these the headphone / air oxygenator thing, you can increase the levels of oxygen. Like, you can, like, if you're doing something running, you can make it so that more oxygen is being forced in, like, so that you're getting more oxygen. And also, it flips down. So, like, if you're running and you need to talk to somebody, you can, like, put it down like a chin strap so that you can actually have a normal conversation. And it also detaches. Like, if you just want the headphones, if you don't want to wear the mouth and oxygen thing, you can do that as well. So I don't know. What do I know about the world? 6 months from now, we could see like every kid in the airport wearing these. I don't know. Kids are the ones who will either decide if it's cool or not. But it looks kind of cool. Oh, there's also an add-on, which is a complete head visor. Like, if you need, for some reason, basically it's like a thing that will cover your entire head, so it looks like a helmet. But this is the base model. What you're going to be doing, you get the air, the purified oxygen with all the pollutants and everything filtered out, so you're breathing pure oxygen. And what if the sound sucks though? What if they're so like into how great it is, but it's just basically the level of like a pair of cheap Sanyo headphones? It's like, well, but the oxygen though. Yeah, but I bought these really for the music. The oxygen is just an after. The music doesn't really sound great, but the oxygen. Yeah, I guess. So there you go. That's the new thing, the Dyson. Storms. Storms are trending. Guys, I can't possibly be the only person who was woken up at 3:30 in the morning by the sound of the sky falling. Woo! Did we have some scary ass storms last night? Now, the worst of it seems to have ripped through the Texas Panhandle and Arkansas, which is right there, the Panhandle. They had some tornadoes and all of that. I woke up. I was beautiful, sound asleep, nice thunder, and then just the loudest thunder. Totally woke me up. The entire building shook. And the rain was coming down so hard. And it's at that scary time, man. It's scary whenever we get one of these crazy Texas spring storms. They're all scary because boy, oh boy, bad stuff can happen. But when they happen at 3:30 in the morning, like 3:30 in the morning where everybody's asleep and you're woken up by tornado warnings, what are you going to do? It's like, oh God, not only do I have to totally get my mind right because we're going through a tornado warning, but I got to wake up and now I'm going to lose sleep. This couldn't have happened at noon. Let's see. April says Rockwall had a bunch of storm damage. It was bad. Yeah, man. It was bad. It was a crazy, violent storm last night in the middle of the night. middle of the night. A town in Arkansas had a couple of tornadoes rip through it. Also something in the Panhandle, but no deaths or anything like that. Jersey Mike's is trending. Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's is trending because today, if you go to Jersey Mike's, 100% of all the money Jersey Mike's makes off sandwich sales is going to be donated to the Special Olympics. Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's giving back. That's awesome. That is awesome. I am on a diet, but were I not on a diet, I would go to Jersey Mike's and I would get my staple, my Jersey Mike's staple, which is the giant-sized Big Kahuna with extra jalapenos, and I would eat it for 2 days. Oh, man, is that a good sandwich. The Big Kahuna at Jersey Mike's. So today, if you're looking for somebody to give money to, give it to Jersey Mike's, because they're just going to throw it right at the Special Olympics so that those kids can have a good time. Tiger Woods is trending. Tiger Woods is trending because he's practicing at Augusta for the Masters. He's going to try and play in the Masters, and everybody's very excited about that. Ben Franklin is trending. Ben Franklin is trending because apparently PBS has a big Ken Burns. Oh, Ben Franklin getting the Ken Burns treatment. Big Ken Burns documentary on Ben Franklin is airing on PBS. That begins April 4th. So the promotion of that is starting. Cop sex. Cop sex is trending. A Georgia police officer has resigned after a video emerged of him having sex in a parking lot across the street from a school during school hours. Now, here's how this happened. So this cop pulls over into this like abandoned like little dirt parking area across the street from a school, an elementary school. And he just gets out of the car and he starts having sex against the car with some woman. Now, dirtbag cop, whatever. That dirtbag cop, dirtbag human. That's like a dirtbag. I'm sorry, Pugs, you're so sexually repressed. No, I'm not. That's gross. I don't want to have sex. No. And the reason that he got caught is because this like little dirt area where he pulled his car over to have sex with this girl across from the school, was like one of those dirt parking areas for one of those big giant transformer towers, that go all the way up in the sky. Well, there was a dude on top of the transformer tower who was watching, and he filmed it. He filmed it on his phone and he put it on TikTok, and it got 15 million views. And the cop resigned. The cop found out about it and he's like, yeah, I quit. And the chief of police is like, good, because you were going to be fired. So there you go. So that's in Georgia. Georgia police officer resigns after sex video emerges. Mushrooms. Psilocybin mushrooms are also trending. Colorado is currently hammering out the details for their decriminalization of psilocybin mushrooms. Colorado, the first in the nation to decriminalize and then legalize marijuana and cannabis. They're now moving forward with psilocybin mushrooms. They're going to make mushrooms legal too. This is all part of a nationwide campaign called Decriminalize Nature. This is not legalizing LSD and acid trips and all that kind of stuff. There is actually a difference between psilocybin mushrooms and all of that. I don't particularly like those kinds of things. Actually, that's overstating them. I don't like them. It's not even particularly like them. No, thank you. Tried it once a long time ago. Wasn't fun. Thought it was awful. People swear by them. Mushrooms are supposed to be doing absolutely beautiful work with severely damaged people, especially sufferers of PTSD, soldiers who are coming back who have seen some shit, man, and they are haunted with nightmares and all of that. Psilocybin mushrooms are supposed to be like really helping them get through their day. So we're going to see this more. Denver decriminalized psilocybin mushrooms a couple of years ago. Washington, D.C. decriminalized psilocybin mushrooms 2 years ago. A year ago, actually, 2021. And now the entire state of Colorado is saying, you know what? They grow all over here. They're just people pick them up off the ground. Can't be filling our jails with people who just pick things up off the ground and eat them. So they grow in poop. That's the weird thing. They, I guess the psychedelic psilocybin properties can only be gotten if they grow in cow poop. So like cow patties, I don't know, some of you more rural folks out there, you might know about this. You see those little mushrooms that start to grow on the top of cow patties and fields. Those are psychedelic mushrooms. Sometimes. Don't just eat them. Don't just, I'm not saying because sometimes they'll kill you, but that's where they come from. Okay. Nope. Don't want to do that. Was going to talk about the anti-lynching thing, but I don't want to go into that. I should have front loaded that further in the show when I have more energy. NFL owners meetings. The NFL overtime has been changed. This, of course, stems from last season, the way the Buffalo Bills season ended, where it was just such an incredible game between the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. And it went into overtime after the lead had changed hands a couple of times just in the last few minutes of the game. And then the Kansas City Chiefs got the ball in overtime, marched downfield, scored a touchdown, game over. The complaint was that Buffalo didn't even get a chance in overtime. And that's when people started screaming, it needs to be changed. The rule needs to be changed. Overtime, everybody needs to get their shot. And so now it's changed, but only for the playoffs. The regular season games will still be decided in overtime according to the old rules, which is first guy to score, that whole thing. Same way that was. So if you take the ball in overtime first and you march downfield and score, game over. But in the playoffs, there's going to be a different overtime format. In the playoffs, both teams are going to get a chance to have the ball on offense. So there you go. That's about it. All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for the show today. Let's see here. If I was going to get a two-day sandwich, it would be the Oscar from Weinberger's. Yeah, but Jeff, you're missing the point there, Jeff. See, Weinberger's, I don't think, is giving all the money today to a nice cause. So that's, I would, I love Weinberger's, don't get me wrong, but the whole point is it's doing something nice. Adam says, you can get Jersey Mike's in a bowl. Yeah. No. What's the point? I don't want. I get what you're saying, and we got to eat healthier and all that stuff, but I don't like the bowl options. You know what? I'll just eat my carrots. I don't need to be eating something that's almost as good as it can be, because then I'm telling myself that, well, this is okay. And it's still a lot of calories, even though we're eliminating the bread. If it's not going to be just knock your socks off awesome the way it's intended to be, I'll just eat my carrots. I'll just avoid it. I'll avoid it. I'm not going to go to Jersey Mike's tonight. Don't worry. I'll be strong. Let's see what else. Let's see. There's the energy vampire. Just glossing over the new overtime rule. The bulk of the story is that everybody's going to get a chance now, so that we can't have a repeat of what happened in Kansas City. And the energy vampire, Adam Reyna, not technically true. Okay. What compelled you in that moment to try and upstage what was I'm just pointing it out there. Maybe not technically true, but we're not getting into the true technical details. A bunch of other changes, true. There are a bunch of other changes I could go into. I didn't go into that. Didn't go into them. Just talking about how all the people who were complaining about the way the Bills and the Chiefs game ended, they've kind of amended that. All right, that's all. I love you, Adam, but God. Jefferson Glenwright IV says, I will also not go to Jersey Mike's, Pugs. Solidarity. There you go. How you feeling, Jeff? Jeff, how you doing? How's your leg? I've been thinking about you. Adam says, you said both offenses get the ball. That's not technically true. Okay. All right. You could have just said, oh, your energy is delicious, and then we'd had a nice laugh and moved on, but you decided that you wanted to dip the straw into my soul again and just suck out a little bit of my mortal coil. No, but. Honestly, if Adam Reyna did not have this personality malfunction, I wouldn't love him nearly as much as I do. he'd just be somebody that I don't think about, as opposed to now, somebody who I obsess on all the time. Jeff says the Eric Church situation. Tickets for Church's show at Dickies Arena are still on sale. Only cheap seats left, and those are running 65 to 165. Can only imagine what the good seats were going for. When is that? Hopefully that show at Dickies Arena isn't scheduled for the night of the national championship game, because God forbid North Carolina make it to that. He's going to cancel that show too. And when do they do the national championship game? So if the Final Four is this weekend, will those games be played on Saturday and then the national championship game is on Monday night? Or are we waiting a week? Do we do this now? Because back in the day, Final Four weekend was Final Four weekend. There was a champion by Monday night, close of business. You would play the two Final Four games on Saturday, one an early game, one a late game. And then both teams would have Sunday off, and then they would play on Monday night to a national television audience for the NCAA basketball championship. But for some reason, I imagine that now they probably just wait a week? No, because you can't stay in the same. It's got to be the same week. Yeah, okay, thanks, Adam. Yeah, so the national championship is Monday. So good. I'm glad they didn't extend it out a week. So does Eric Church have a concert on Monday? Somebody look that up. Somebody look up and see if Eric Church has a concert on Monday. Monday, what would that be? The 4th, I believe. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Yeah, Monday the 4th, Eric Church concert. Because, God, those people better be prepared for him to go, I'm not going. I'm going to another basketball game. God, what a selfish dick. What a selfish jerk. All right, folks. We'll be back tonight for Pillow Talk. Me and Parker don't know what we're going to talk about tonight. We'll have to figure that out. We'll figure it out. We'll get to that. Let me pull up a little John Hinckley for you on this day in 1981. What is that, 41 years ago? 41. Yeah, 1981. It's 2002. 41 years ago today, John Hinckley became famous. And now look, now we listen to his music every day at the end of the show.
I have got my poetry.
Yes, you do, John.
I have got my songs. They see me through the lonely nights. Help me.
Fort Worth is on the 1st, and then the next show after that is on the 9th. Okay, so Eric Church doesn't have to worry about just completely shitting on another group of fans in another city just because his team might make it to the NCAA championship. That is really awful. I mean, that is really such a selfish, it's a stupid basketball game, man. You know, if you are Eric Church, well, actually, I'm thinking about it now. Like there have been times when I've had to do something, but I've wanted to watch like a Bears game or a White Sox game or a Cowboys game or something like that. So I would have it recorded, and everyone in my immediate universe would know, do not even acknowledge that this team exists. I don't want to hear you go, did you see the game? I don't want, because then I'm going to be gauging your reaction, the way you're saying it, the tone. Like, why is he saying it like that? Did something happen? Oh my God, now I'm going to, no, I just want it all to be new to me with absolutely no indication of how the result played out. And I'm often able to do that. Eric Church should be able to do that with his crew. I mean, he's a star. So, they have a bunch of minions who will go around and be like, whatever you do, don't anybody mention the Carolina Tar Heels game, right? So they can pretend, make sure all the TVs backstage, none of them are on you can do that. And then he can be recording it on the bus or however it is that he gets along. However, the issue could be a fan. Like there could be like a fan could, like in between songs, somebody who knows that he's such a big North Carolina fan could say something like, how about them Tar Heels? Which sounds innocuous, but if it's during the night of a game and you hear a fan say that, you could take that as being they won and now it's ruined. So I was going to say he could just kind of like DVR it. And what time would the game be? These games are in the early evening. What time is his show? Doesn't he go on? Doesn't he take the stage at like 8, 9 o'clock at night for a concert? Is this going to be a Saturday night game? When is the game? I don't know. I just think he's being selfish and he's crapping on people. Jennifer Blair Martin says there was a Seinfeld episode like that, and Kramer was the one that ruined it. Yeah, the Mets game. Yeah, Jerry wanted to come home and watch the Mets game. And and Jerry finally gets home late at night, puts the VCR, or not the VCR, it was a VCR, puts the tape in the VCR, sits down, hits play on the Mets game. Kramer comes bursting in, sits down on the couch next to him and go, "How about that Mets win tonight, huh?" It was totally ruined. I mean, I'm not saying that that's a unique situation to me. That was just something that we all went through. We all still go through that. I had that experience this weekend. It wasn't ruined for me. It was as a matter of fact, I yelled at my kid. I yelled at him. I totally overreacted. And then I had to apologize. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. You just know how that is. My son and I went to eat. My buddy, his son had a football game. So we went to his football game, which is just at a park up the road. But it was during the Formula One race. And I was recording the Formula One race. And we get in the car and we're driving up to the park where the game is. And my son goes, "Hey, I'm looking at this. Did you know that the F1 race today?" And I go, "Stop it! Stop it! Don't say a word." And my kid was like, "Geez, dude, calm down." And I go, that I'm trying to save it. I want to watch after the football game. I want to go home and I want to watch the F1 race and I want to watch it just unfold and I want to see it, in real time to me. I don't want to have any indication of who won or anything. And my kid goes, "I was just going to tell you that it's on and that we should watch it." Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I had to cut it off. I had to cut you off right there. I didn't know where you were going. And it's just, I spend all week waiting for these races and they're so fascinating to me. And I just didn't want it ruined." And so then he spent like the next couple of blocks moping, like making me pay for it. Whatever, dude. Really, like, you need to relax, man. You need to relax. And then we were fine. We get over it. But he was twisting the screw a little bit. I also like when he calls me dude. Whatever, dude. That's father dude. One last time, support the show right there. You got the Venmo, you got the PayPal. If you can support the show, we are in the home stretch for this month, trying to get the show paid for. It is your kindnesses that allow me to do these 2 shows a day. If you enjoy the show, you want to throw a little bit in there. Hey, treat me like I'm your bartender. Tip me. Just give me a tip. I've been hanging out. There you go. Enough said. Thank you. Understood now. I'm gonna have to start taking a roll call. I'm gonna start taking a roll call for people in the chat room. Where's Ross today? We got no Ross today. We had Emily. Emily came back into the Pillow Talk chat room. Emily had been missing for a while. Emily shows back up last night. She's like, "I'm back." I'm like, "Yeah, well, where are you? Okay, I don't care about you being back. I care about you being gone." Leslie, I understand what's going on with Leslie. Leslie's going to pop in and out when she can, but people have lives and there are things happening in people's lives, and you gotta, you can't just stop everything for this. We got Will. Will is a cornerstone. Jeff's a cornerstone. April's a cornerstone. JBM is now a cornerstone. Adam and Jeff and Byron. Did we lose Byron? I haven't seen Byron check in. He's first to check in. Tom's here, but he's at school. Tom, Tom, you're different. Tom's a real life friend. Not that you people in the chat room aren't real friends. You're just, you're virtual friends. Tom and I go back to grade school. Never ending quest. There's Al. Al's a cornerstone. Always good to see Al. Best is yet to come. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I have got an old guitar.
Yeah, Byron was in first today. Byron does that thing that some people do, where like you show up early and you make sure that everybody knows you're there early. Hey, where you been? I was here first. All right, taking your time getting in here. And then when everybody fills up the room, he like leaves the party. You're like, where did Byron go? Well, he was here earlier. And that's like the play. The play is to show up first so that everybody sees you. Or that's actually, this has nothing to do with that. But I was taught a trick. I believe it was my first wife who taught me this trick. When you show up at a party that you don't really want to be at, but you have to go there, you don't show up on time. You show up like, I don't know, a half hour, 45 minutes late. You show up, you work the room, you be loud so that people notice you, and then you make sure that you say hello to the person who's throwing the party, you say hello to a couple of key people, and then you disappear. And you get credit for being at the party. You have paid your respect to a few key people. It was a beautiful plan. It worked beautifully. We used to do it all the time. Family parties is where that really comes in handy. Especially when you have like a couple of families, like your mom's remarried and you have to go here, and then you have to go there, and then you have to go there. It's like, okay, just make sure you make an impression on this person. And then meet me by the coat rack and we'll slide out. And people will just think we're in the bathroom or something.
Tomorrow is another day. The
best is yet to come. Best is yet to come.
So baffling to some.
Whoa.
I can smile a little now.
So just so that we can avoid the embarrassing situation that I had the other night. The other night after the Pillow Talk show, I didn't have anything to watch. So I was like, all right, I feel like maybe a documentary, maybe I'll learn something. So I ended up watching this real interesting documentary on Hulu or something about homosexuality during the glamour years of Hollywood. And it was in your face, man. It was fascinating. I mean, it was really fascinating because they just outed a whole bunch of people. Like a whole bunch of people that you never knew were gay were like, it's called Scotty something's Secret Hollywood. You can find it on Hulu or Netflix, whatever. So I was watching that, and on Pillow Talk last night, I started to talk about seeing that. And my son calls me. He's like, what are you talking about? Because I do the Pillow Talk show not imagining that my 12-year-old son is at home in his bedroom watching, but all he watches is YouTube. So I have to be careful of that. But anyway, I was able to avoid that situation where I fall into a show that I'm watching because I'm fascinated with, but I normally wouldn't watch it because, just whatever, doesn't really, subject matter isn't. At any rate, I'm not going to have that problem anymore. Because do you guys watch the FX series Snowfall on FX? There are so many good TV shows out there that sometimes I forget that they exist. Snowfall is what would I compare it to? I guess it's kind of like The Wire. It's in that kind of a vibe. It's controversial. To me, it's every bit as good as The Wire. I enjoy Snowfall just as much, but Snowfall is a depiction of how crack cocaine became a thing in the inner cities in South Central Los Angeles and all of that. And it also depicts the CIA's role in it and how the Contra Sandinista war down there in Central America played a role in it. And it's fascinating. And it follows Franklin, who is this young kid drug dealer who becomes a drug kingpin. And it follows Teddy, who is a CIA agent. I mean, it's just really good. Snowfall's really good. And last night I saw that the new season of Snowfall is being posted on Hulu. And because I don't watch regular TV anymore, I don't ever see commercials for new shows like coming in 2 weeks, Snowfall season 5. Well, then I realized that I missed season 4 of Snowfall. So I'm like, holy crap, there are 2 seasons. I've seen the first 3 seasons. I love that show. And now I've got season 4 and season 5. So last night I started to watch season 4 and I realized that it had been so long since I finished watching season 3. I didn't really remember all the details. So I decided to go all the way back to season 2, and I began watching season 2 of Snowfall last night. So now I've got season 2, season 3, season 4, and season 5 that I can now get through. So I'm never going to fall into any weird television watching holes. I am going to be occupied watching Snowfall for at least the next few months. Oh, is that a good show? It is such a good show.
Things are going good. I always had.
Wow, Adam, that's really good. That's really good. Adam Reyna says that Snowfall is The Wire meets Narcos meets The Americans. That's really good. Yeah. I agree. I agree completely. It's got political stuff. It's got CIA covert activities. It's got a war. It's got Reagan's war in Central America, and then it's got the South Central. I mean, basically, now explain this. I'm going to go into this controversial topic. The CIA needed to fund the Contras. They didn't want communism taking over, but the government, the House of Representatives, wouldn't allow any budget money to be spent on the war in South America. So they had to get creative. And we funded Reagan's war in Central America was funded by a covert operation wherein the Secret Service the CIA took all of this cocaine from the Central Americans. They said, give us guns. And the CIA said, all right, but we're going to have to get creative here. Give us a whole bunch of cocaine. And so a whole bunch of cocaine went to the CIA, and then the CIA sold all of that cocaine to the inner cities and basically taught them how to make crack so they could make it go further. So the CIA took all the cocaine, turned that into crack money, and then with the crack money off the books, they bought all of the guns and the weapons and the guidance systems that they then gave to the Contras to fight the war in Central America. That's what Snowfall's about. And it's awesome. And folks, I'm sorry, but that's how it happened. That is not even debated anymore. That is crack cocaine was an offshoot of the CIA's secret war in Central America. They had all of this cocaine and they wanted to sell it in the black communities. And it turned out that black people couldn't afford cocaine. The poor black people in South Central couldn't afford cocaine because it was too expensive. So they created crack, which was a cocaine product that they could afford because it was $10 a rock. That's what Snowfall's about. And it's awesome. Yeah. We did that, okay? It's not even debated anymore. For like the first 20 years, I was like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. And now, like, enough people who were involved in it are like old men, and they've been on their deathbed, and they're like, "Yeah, no, that's true. We did that. That is how we funded that war. Congress wouldn't give Reagan any money. It's not Reagan's fault. I mean, I don't even know that he came up with it, but the CIA came up with it. The CIA was like, we can make some money. These guys that we're trying to help down there, they got all kinds of cocaine. I think that we can get the cocaine from them. They'll give it to us. We'll flip it for cash, and then we'll use that cash to buy guns, and that's how we'll fund them. We don't have to go through Congress. We can do this covertly." And then the crack epidemic started, and they were like, not our problem. Bye, everybody.